Chapter 1177. A great battle broke out instantly. Extermination did not seal Old Man Li's origin the moment he arrived. Clearly, he wanted to test the waters first. However, he picked the wrong target. Old Man Li seemed to be mute today. Without saying a word, he went all out. Hum! A sword gleam pierced through heaven and earth. Sky Destroyer was unleashed. Demon Martial Sword. Countless heroic spirits appeared. Every one of them was like a sword. The sword broke through the fourth heaven and attacked instantly. Kill! 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 Battle cries reverberated throughout heaven and earth. The heroic spirits were silent, but their battle cries reverberated through the void, shaking people's hearts. Old Man Li's expression was calm. He had no intention of testing the powerhouses, or rather, as long as it was an enemy, he had no intention of testing. He gave it his all. When he killed his enemies, he mostly killed them with one move. Those who were weaker than him would die with one move. Those who were stronger than him, if one move was not enough, he would use two moves. Fong Ping held his teacup and looked over, frowning slightly. It was not that Old Man Li was weak. He was very strong. Old Man Li, who had just achieved Tao validation, had improved his control over his strength. His strength had also increased slightly. The strength that he had unleashed might not lose to a Paragon rank 7 or 8. However, Extermination was not a weakling, even if he was a little flustered at first. He quickly steadied himself. Mentality outburst. At this moment, Extermination's mentality condensed into spears. Countless spears shot out. Although they were continuously shattered by the sword gleams, Extermination's mentality was extremely strong. The powerful demon martial sword dissipated completely after shattering hundreds of spears in an instant. Extermination's face was slightly pale, but he was smiling. Li Changsheng was strong, stronger than he had expected. However, even if he did not seal his origin, he was confident that he could defeat him. Extermination's mentality destroyed the demon martial sword. In the next moment, countless spears condensed again, turning into a spear array and attacking Old Man Li from all directions. On top of the iceberg, Taoist Fengyan sighed slightly. The longevity sword is still a notch weaker. Extermination is an emperor level after all. He specializes in mentality. If this goes on, just as he finished speaking, a shocking scene occurred. Amidst his silence, Old Man Li stepped on empty air. His body seemed to have shrunk a little, but his speed was extremely fast. Countless spears densely covered the small space. Yet Old Man Li was like a swimming fish, passing through the spear formation in the blink of an eye. Extermination, who was still controlling the spear array, was slightly taken aback. At this moment, Old Man Li's chi was withdrawn. Like a dying man, he swung his sword lightly. Extermination was still withdrawing his mentality, ready to continue surrounding Old Man Li. Suddenly, someone shouted from the periphery, "Defend!" Heavenly Sword. At this moment, Fong Ping's eyes glowed. The god-slaying saber in his hand flashed. In the next moment, Celestial Sword broke through the void in the distance, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. Hai Yu and Qing Mo instantly unleashed their chi dynamic as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Far away, in the restricted area of the catacombs, 6 chi dynamic also erupted, shaking the 3 realms. Fong Ping's expression was the same as usual. He looked at Sky Sword and said coldly, "If you dare to interrupt again, I will kill you today. Even if the human race suffers heavy losses, it doesn't matter. Believe it or not, you can try." Tian Jian's expression was ugly, but he was also slightly fearful. In that instant, Fong Ping's saber slashed into his origin. almost seriously injuring him. Fortunately, there were 3 great saints here. Otherwise, if he fought Fang Ping one-on-one, he might very well follow in Tian Gui's footsteps. Fang Ping let out a cold humph. His gaze was extremely unfriendly. He looked around without saying a word, but his eyes were glowing fiercely. Obviously, if anyone dared to interfere, he was ready to flip out. Heavenly Swords defend made extermination put away his carelessness. In the next moment, mentality densely covered his body, and a set of silver battle armor appeared on his body. The moment the battle armor appeared, the Sky Destroyer pierced through the mentality defense, stabbing the battle armor with a ding. Bang! There was a loud, deafening sound. Some of the rank 9 martial artists at the periphery started bleeding from their orifices. Many of them hurriedly flew backward, and some fell directly into the sea, their golden bodies corroded by the seawater sizzling. Extermination also took a few steps back, unable to hold back his shock. Looking down at the battle armor, he saw that there was a tiny crack on it. Even though it was being repaired quickly, it could not hide the shock on his face. This was the holy weapon battle armor. He also had Emperor-level combat strength. To be able to break the battle armor with 1 slash meant that this slash had exceeded the battle armor's endurance. Of course, it did not mean that Old Man Li could break the holy weapon, but he had the Sky Destroyer in his hand. This was also a powerful divine weapon, incomparably sharp. This meant that his defense had been broken. Extermination was shocked. How was this possible? He was an emperor level. How could Li Changsheng break his defense so easily? If there was no battle armor, no mentality to defend, this slash would definitely cut his golden body open. This also meant that in his first battle against a true god, he was the first to be injured. Longevity swordsman. Over here, Fang Ping and Heavenly Sword's battle was extremely fast. When it came to an end, the other side had just finished too. At this time, the Saint Yue could not help but exclaim, "Hero! When I see him, I think I see someone." Beside her, the middle-aged cosmic dragon incarnation also said quickly, "That's right, I think I see the rise of Heavenly Emperor Zhan." Fight! Fang Ping did not say anything. At this moment, the other parties were also discussing. Skilled and specialized, fighting for a living, giving up everything, only attacking and not defending. His strength control is as high as 90%. When he uses his full strength, his destructive power increases by another 20%. Li Changsheng, who gave up everything, was born to fight. An all-out offensive swordsman, more than one. 6 million calories limit vitality. His control was as high as 90%. Not only that, the sword he slashed out seemed to be stronger than the average martial artist, even if their strength was the same. Coupled with the enhancement of combat techniques and divine weapons, the current Old Man Li was not weaker than some people who had just achieved emperor level, provided that the other party's control was average. Extermination's control of strength was still acceptable, but he lacked actual combat experience. If not for Heavenly Sword's intervention, his golden body might have been shattered. This slash was fruitless. Old Man Li's face was slightly pale. Fang Ping glanced at Heavenly Sword again, the murderous glint in his eyes. Heavenly Sword's expression was ugly, but this time he did not say anything. He could feel that if he spoke again, Fang Ping might really fight to the death with him. Humph! Fang Ping let out a cold humph and said nothing. Heavenly Sword, this fellow did not only have the 3 saints. They were also worried that Fang Ping would do something sneaky. The other 6 saints had been paying attention to this side. If there was any movement, they would tear through the void and come here immediately. Fang Ping still did not have the ability to kill the 9 saints. The spectators fell silent. Many people's eyes flickered. This time, they also saw something. Extermination was not weak, but he lacked combat experience. During the battle, he actually underestimated his opponent, underestimated the sword that was ready to draw the bow and release it, and almost suffered a great loss. Under normal circumstances, even rank 9 martial artists would rarely overlook this point. This was because the more the bow and release, the more reserved it was, the more dangerous it was. Saint rank combat armor. At this time, some people also sighed. The Fengtian clan was generous. Aside from the Saint token, they actually had a set of Saint rank combat armor. In this case, Li Chongqing would have to expend 50% more strength to break through the opponent's defense when the other party was prepared. I've underestimated you. Compared to the average new emperor-level martial artist, you're not that far off. At this time, Extermination spoke. Perhaps it was to find an excuse for his own failure, but he flattered old man Li. He was slightly at a disadvantage. Before he finished speaking, old man Li left only an afterimage, appearing behind him in an instant, wielding his sword and attacking again. There was no earth-shattering chi dynamic, and there were not too many aftershocks. The more it was like this, the more it proved how terrifying he was. When powerhouses with extremely high strength control battled, both sides restrained their strength. Some powerhouses reached the extreme, not even breaking the void. This was because all of their strength was restrained, and the overflowing strength was less than the strength of 150,000 calories vitality. Some powerhouses who had broken through 7 and 8 also had extremely strong strength control. The reason why they could break through the void was because they borrowed the strength of the space rift to kill the enemy, superimposing. It did not mean that the overflowing strength of the other party could break through 7 or 8 levels. Old man Li did not talk to him. The angle was tricky, and the Sky Destroyer was a sharp weapon. Although Extermination was careful enough, he still could not guard against it. Old man Li fainted, and the sword stabbed his elbow. There was no armor near the elbow. Battle armor could only protect some vital areas. Although full-body armor did not affect powerhouses much, when powerhouses fought, it could easily be hindered. When the sword landed, golden blood spurted out of Extermination's elbow. Extermination was furious. Not only did he fail to establish his dominance, but he was also injured by the longevity sword. In his rage, he did not even think about probing. The next moment, he growled, "Seal." At this moment, a door formed in the void. It was extremely fast. At the speed of light, it shrouded old man Li, origin sealing technique. At this moment, many ancient sages spoke again. Origin sealing. Many people knew about this. The celestial Extermination Emperor knew this technique in the past too, but he was not famous. He had no choice. If he met a weak opponent, he would kill them. If he met a strong opponent, such as the 9 emperors, he could not use it. The only one he could use was the celestial Batian Emperor. That was just sparring, and it was considered a useless combat technique. It was not very useful. On the other hand, Heavenly King Conferment carried this path forward. When he met same-level martial artists, Heavenly Kings with weaker mentality would often be at a disadvantage. Although they could break through the seal quickly, the momentary drop in strength was enough to cause a great impact. At this moment, Extermination used the origin sealing technique. He was obviously prepared to end the battle quickly, establishing authority, emperor-level fighting against the top. Even if he killed the opponent, it was not considered establishing authority. Sealing the longevity sword and killing the opponent in an instant. This was power. As soon as the origin sealing technique was used, Fang Ping's expression changed. He shouted, "Be careful!" Old man Li quickly escaped into the air, trying to avoid it. But how could he? The next moment, the door entered old man Li's body. Old Man Lee's expression changed, and his chi flow dropped significantly. At this moment, a spear appeared in Extermination's hand. With a cold humph, the spear stabbed toward his head. Old Man Lee retreated hurriedly, but his speed was much slower. How could he compare to Extermination? Extermination's spear stabbed toward him, and the void shattered. Old Man Lee growled and used his sword to block it. Extermination sneered. Could you block it? His sword was soft and powerless. He could feel it. At this moment, Sky Sword Saint's expression changed again. Before he could speak, Fong Ping slashed his saber. Not only that, Fong Ping tore the void directly, punching out. Qing Emo blocked it. An explosion was heard. Fong Ping stepped on the void and retreated a few meters. Qing Emo flew hundreds of meters away, crashing into the spaceship behind him and exploding it. Some true gods brought their people and flew away quickly. However, there were also a few unlucky rank 9s who exploded directly, dying completely. Just as Saint Haiyu was about to attack, Wind and Cloud and the rest arrived. Fong Ping stopped too. He looked at Sky Sword without saying a word, his gaze cold and fierce. Sky Sword was a little aggrieved. He growled. He wanted to explain. I did not speak. However, when he thought of explaining, he felt that he was inferior to Fong Ping. He gave a cold humph and did not explain anymore. Deep down, however, he was angry. Fong Ping was so domineering. They all had the combat strength of a saint. Their speed was faster than Old Man Lee and the rest. In a flash of lightning and thunder, a confrontation was completed. The other onlookers did not even have time to look over here. They were all focused on Old Man Lee and the rest. At this moment, Old Man Lee, whose momentum had dropped earlier, suddenly became as sharp as a sword. His eyes were bright, and there was no sign of him weakening. Slash. This was the first time Old Man Lee had spoken since the beginning of the day. Doom's expression changed drastically. The long spear had already been thrust. It was too late to retract it. Old Man Lee stepped on the void, dodging quickly. He stabbed with his sword. The speed of the stab suddenly increased exponentially, so fast that it could not be any faster. There was a splat. Doom screamed and retreated hurriedly. The next moment, he covered his eyes and screamed. Old Man Lee's sword pierced through his right eye directly. The pain was unbearable. Not only that, the sword aura was still exploding in his brain, stimulating him even more. You deserve to die. Doom roared resentfully. He was actually blinded by the other party. Even if it could be recovered, it was still a great humiliation. At this moment, Doom's mentality erupted to the extreme. A powerful mentality swept across the area instantly. Some rank 9 martial artists who were close were shattered instantly. Fong Ping took a glance, slightly speechless. Was he crazy? A rank 9 watching a battle was fine, but he was watching from tens of miles away. Right here, with no one to protect him, was he not courting death? A very strong mentality. Fong Ping roughly sensed it. It might have really exceeded 25,000 hertz. The pinnacle was marked by 10,000 galleries. At the peak, walking for a kilometer would increase the speed by about 1,000 hertz. Overlord tier, mental energy was about 20,000 hertz. At 10,000 meters, it was the same as the origin source path's enhancement. After walking for 10,000 meters, the enhancement would be about kilohertz or so, surpassing 25,000 hertz of mental energy, which was close to the standard of a sage. His mental strength was strong, and when he used his full strength, it was also extremely powerful. Old Man Lee's face turned pale instantly. Generally speaking, it was very difficult for a powerhouse with strong mental strength to suppress a powerhouse with pure mental strength. However, if the disparity was large, it could still be suppressed. Old Man Li was obviously being suppressed. At this moment, he, who had just wanted to deal the finishing blow, froze. Destruction's eyes quickly recovered. Right now, his face was filled with anger. It was too painful. He wanted to kill this bastard. Mentality continued to erupt. Old man Li's sword aura also erupted, and his vitality erupted. He resisted with great difficulty, but he was still suppressed. He was suppressed to the point where he could not move an inch. Damn bastard, go to hell. Extermination's fury was written all over his face. His speed was extremely fast, and as he suppressed his opponent with his mental strength, he thrust his spear forward once more. Old man Li was suppressed. His movements were slightly slower, so he could not avoid it this time. Pucci, his sword-wielding right hand was pierced. Destruction did not drag him into the source world to fight. The battle in the source world was very dangerous. Of course, the danger was not the main point. It was that no one could see it. He still did not have the ability to manifest the source world, just like the time in the forest. If he dragged Li Changsheng in, both parties would fight in the source world. No one else could see it. This way, even if he killed Li Changsheng, his anger would not be appeased. As an emperor-level powerhouse, his mentality was incomparably strong, and he carried 3 holy weapons. Yet, he was blinded by a paragon. How humiliating! If he did not kill Li Changsheng in front of everyone, how could he wash away the humiliation? It's dangerous. Taoist Feng Yun looked at Fang Ping, frowning slightly. As for Sky Sword and the rest, they did not speak now. Instead, they wore cold smiles on their faces, a little gloating. Fang Ping was boundlessly domineering. Earlier, before Sky Sword even spoke, he attacked as he said he would. This made the few ancient sages hold their breaths. Now that destruction had suppressed Longevity's sword, piercing through Longevity's sword's limbs in the blink of an eye. Seeing that the spear was about to pierce his head, the few of them were overjoyed. Fang Ping said nothing. He looked at Old Man Li. He was ready to make a move. Old Man Li's gaze was still cold. Even though he was suppressed, he was still moving his body, struggling to evade. The range of his body movements was not big, but Fang Ping saw a very simple cultivation method. Perhaps it was not considered a cultivation method. Pole standing. Old Man Li's body trembled slightly, his posture like he was standing on a pole. The muscles all over his body were trembling, his body vibrating slightly. The annihilation spear pierced forward. Old Man Li only dodged slightly, but as if there was a force pulling it, the spear that was about to pierce into his brain deviated slightly and pierced into his shoulder. Blood splattered. Old Man Li did not care. At this moment, he suddenly said, "Fang Ping, pole standing, the basic method that human powerhouses have studied for their entire lives." As soon as he finished speaking, his body trembled, and the spear was flicked out. This time, the bones in Destruction's hand were broken. Blood splattered everywhere. Damn it! Destruction was completely enraged. He had suppressed the other party, and the other party dodged with difficulty. Yet, he was still retaliated. How embarrassing! His physique was not as strong as Li Changsheng's because Old Man Li had advanced to a 9th-grade golden body. Old Man Li did not care. His body was still trembling. His feet stepped on the void, but it was as if he was rooted in the void, swaying constantly. Destruction stabbed out with his spear again and again. However, Old Man Li kept dodging, avoiding the vital parts. With his mentality suppressed, it was difficult for him to move. At this moment, he fought an unimaginable scene. He kept dodging an emperor-level powerhouse's killing move in a small space. At this moment, even the ancient saint, Sky Sword, had a solemn look on his face. Even if he was an enemy, Sky Sword wanted to praise him. Truly amazing. This time, The human longevity sword had entered the eyes of a saint like him. He was an outstanding individual. If he was given another 100 years, Sky Sword felt that the human race would probably rise to another top-notch powerhouse, being suppressed in a small space, yet he fought with the elegance of a martial artist. Even if he could not win, it was not because Li Changsheng was useless. Of course, this was also related to Destruction's lack of combat experience, which made it difficult for him to predict. Everyone was dazzled by what they saw. Destruction only felt humiliated. He had clearly suppressed the other party, yet the other party was teaching him right in front of him. Pole standing, an aspiring martial artist's basic cultivation technique, was used by Li Changxing to perfection. He had a clear understanding of every part of his body and every cell. He could even predict where Destruction would attack next and how to prepare in advance by moving his muscles. Even if he could not completely dodge the attack, he could at least avoid serious injuries. A grandmaster in actual combat. Normally, Old Man Li would not reveal these things because there was no need. However, today, in a one-on-one battle, this human's pinnacle had broadened the horizons of the saints of the three realms. At this moment, many people were watching the battle. It was not just the people present. Sealed Sky Island. The young man was still fishing. At this moment, a scene from tens of thousands of miles away appeared on the surface of the water. On the screen was Old Man Li and Destruction. There were a few people standing behind the young man. The young man shook his head, slightly. Destruction is a little impatient. Of course, it's because this is his first time out. He made many mistakes and underestimated the enemy. I've said before, don't underestimate any opponent. Anyone can kill you. His temperament still needs to be polished, but it's good. Longevity Sword is a good opponent. It will teach him many things. Some things can't just be said. The young man who was fishing laughed. Longevity Sword is better than I expected. Destruction's battle with him is better than 10 years of hard work, if he can remember these mistakes and don't make them again. Master. Behind him, an elegant middle-aged man said softly, Longevity Sword is indeed a suitable whetstone. But Fong Ping is nearby. If he kills Longevity Sword, won't Fong Ping make a move? Beside the elegant middle-aged man, a beautiful woman said, Third senior brother, you worry too much. Fong Ping is strong, but with the 8 island guarding beasts, even if Fong Ping makes a move, he can still fight. The other saints won't dare to make a move recklessly. The elegant middle-aged man nodded slightly, but still said, it's better to be careful. I've done some research on Fong Ping. He's young and impulsive. He might not be able to control himself like the others. The older generation was fine. The middle-aged man felt that the young Fong Ping might not be able to control himself. The young man who was fishing smiled, faintly. It's fine. Just watch. Yes, the few of them responded and continued watching the water screen. At the same time, Star Town in the small world. The God Creation Envoy and Jiang Hao were both there. The God Creation Envoy clicked his tongue and laughed. Amazing! Longevity Sword Li Changsheng. What a character. Even I want to rank him among the strongest in the past 8,000 years. I thought he was just lucky and chose a special Dao. Now, it seems like the Longevity Sword's strength lies not in his Dao, but in his martial arts. If that's the case, Zhao Xingwu and Wang Jinyang are in danger. I might kick one of them out. Jiang Hao's expression was also solemn. To be able to use pole standing to this extent, it's not the pole standing that's strong, but Li Changxing's talent in combat. Annihilation is using him as a whetstone, and Li Changsheng is also using Annihilation to train himself. This is also a suitable target. He's stronger than him, but he doesn't have enough combat experience. He won't be able to kill him instantly. This opponent is not bad. As he said that, he could not help but say, but he's being suppressed after all. If this goes on, small injuries will accumulate and will soon weaken. Fang Ping, can he endure it? Endure. The God creation envoy yawned. Do you think he can endure it? I think it's hard. Just wait and see. Something big might happen today. This is just the appetizer. I think you'd better rush over today. Otherwise, Jiang Hao frowned. It's not that I don't want to go, but I'm naturally at a disadvantage when facing the sky-sealing bloodline. I and the unquestionable sword's origin are the same, but I'm only at the peak of strength. Once I'm targeted by the sky's sealing bloodline and seal my origin, I'm not even at the peak. That's true, the God creation envoy laughed. See, this is the flaw of the origin Tao. No matter how strong you are, sometimes you will still feel aggrieved. If it's a beginner martial artist, even if he's not as good as the other party, he can still go all out. However, a martial artist of the origin Tao, if he's slightly weaker than the other party, would be beaten up. He can't even go all out. Beginner martial artists are losers, the God creation envoy interrupted. That's because the Tao of beginner martial artists isn't strong enough. Both the origin Tao and the beginner Tao have flaws. Jiang Hao nodded and said, Li Changsheng is stronger than I expected, but it's also related to Annihilation's pride. Now that he's pulled into the origin, Li Changsheng is in danger. The God creation envoy laughed. Let's continue watching. Maybe the results will be a little unexpected. After saying that, the two of them stopped chatting and looked at the mirror in front of them. The battle was still going on. As a God creation envoy, it was not difficult to forge this kind of treasure that imitated the heaven-peaking mirror. At this time, the God creation envoy watched with relish and felt that he had gained a lot. Maybe it was time to chat with this longevity sword about his ever-changing body. It was a little interesting. Chapter 1178. On the Forbidden Sea, the battle continued. Even if Li Changsheng had rich combat experience, the gap was still a gap. He was suppressed and could not move. His counterattack was limited, and his injuries were accumulating. His blood was flowing, turning from gold to pale gold. He was still holding on. There was no time to give up in a battle. Unless he died, even if there was a glimmer of hope, he would not let the enemy kill him. Of course, not everyone was like this. Some of the saints watching the battle were already sighing. If he persisted, he would die too. If he admitted defeat, now, there might be a chance of survival. If this went on, extermination was obviously becoming extremely irritable and impatient. This was wearing down extermination's patience. Moreover, Li Changsheng's continuous counterattacks had injured extermination. After a few times, extermination was also injured and became more irritable. Thousands of miles away from here, in the outland, there was also a huge screen showing the battle scene. Some human rank, 9 powerhouses were watching the battle here. Fang Ping was worried that they would be affected, so he did not bring them along. At this moment, in the crowd, many people clenched their fists. Gloomy, Li Daong, Su Yunfei, Jiang Yuanhua, Guo Shengquan, Xie Yifan, Zhong Qinghuan, one by one, rank, 9 powerhouses were gathered here. They did not go to the outland to participate in the battle. They were waiting for the result. However, the result was not good. Was Li Changsheng powerful? Very powerful. He killed a venerable emperor to the point that he had to use all kinds of trump cards. Saint-level mentality, 3 sacred weapons, origin sealing technique, but being powerful was useless. After all, he had just achieved the peak. The gap was too big. If this went on, he would die. Cat Tree, who was in charge of maintaining the screen, turned into a wretched old man and said viciously, "This guy is going to be killed. What a pity. He's also an outstanding person. If he lives, he will have a bright future. What a pity. You guys just watch. Don't think too much. Look at the other rank 9s. They are all killed by the aftershock. You guys can only watch from thousands of miles away. Don't worry. The king will collect the corpses. You guys are not needed. Everyone was livid. Beigong Yen looked at it with an ugly expression. If it was not for the fact that they were on the same side, he would have teamed up with the others to kill it. The cat tree didn't seem to care, and said, lazily, I'm really going to be beaten to death. The 9 refined golden body can't take it anymore. My left hand was cut off. It's over. Not bad. You actually injured Annihilation. This guy is really strong. If he lives for a few more years, he'll become an emperor, and maybe he'll be able to fight a saint. It's over, it's over, the cat tree kept nagging. Behind it, everyone's eyes were blood red. There were some who stared at it angrily, their anger to the extreme. I don't need you to explain. They saw it. He watched as the longevity sword fought, bathed in blood. Even though the longevity sword's wounds were worsening, he continued to fight back. Regardless of whether there was a chance of victory or not, he wanted to inflict damage on the enemy. This was the motto of the human experts. He couldn't die without any battle merits. If he died, then the other party would have to bite him. Su Yunfei, an expert who was about to prove his Tao, felt extremely complicated at this moment. He was from Star Town, the legitimate son of the Sword King. He had been guarding Weiyu Mountain for hundreds of years. Sometimes he couldn't empathize with some of the things that happened to the human race. Today, however, when he saw the longevity sword fighting a D-Zun relentlessly, he was truly touched. Tenacity. He had been unable to prove his Tao for a long time, but some of the people ranked below him had. This was probably what he lacked. His father died in battle, and he wanted to prove his Tao as soon as possible. However, he couldn't. Today, he had many thoughts. The people around him felt their qi and blood qi erupt. Depression, anger, sorrow, and all sorts of emotions converged, making the place even more oppressive. Su Yunfei did not close his eyes. He kept staring at the screen. His aura gradually fluctuated. The others ignored him. They were all watching the screen and the longevity sword. Some people clenched their fists, feeling so aggrieved that they were about to explode. They gritted their teeth, causing blood to flow. They held their breaths and said in a deep voice, "Why are we so weak? It's been 80 years. Why can't we prove our Tao? Why?" The wretched old man, the cat tree, rolled his eyes frantically. "Why can't I prove my Tao in 80 years? Are you asking me? Who are you mocking? Who thinks it's embarrassing that they can't prove their Tao in 80 years? These humans must be crazy. It's normal that they can't prove their Tao in 800 years. Is this considered showing off?" However, thinking of the mission Fong Ping gave him, the cat tree said lazily, "What's the use of proving our Tao? Are we a match for a saint? Are we a match for a heavenly king? However, a rank 9 is really weak. 5 true gods can at least stop an emperor level. 50 true gods can kill a saint easily. Of course, when it comes to a heavenly king, it'll be another hurdle. If the humans really send out 100 true gods, it won't be difficult to kill a few weak saints. If they fight, the number of people will be slightly less. About 20 will be enough. The 9 saints in the catacombs and 180 true gods can definitely stop them. After stopping the 9 saints, Fong Ping can go all out and lead those saints to kill the heavenly kings directly. What a pity! The cat tree sighed. What a pity! There are too few human true gods. There are only a few of them. They're useless. The human king is also restricted. He can only watch helplessly as others kill the longevity sword. It's such a pity. with the 9 saints around, he wouldn't dare to go all out. You guys, you're a burden. You're a burden to these human race experts. Otherwise, these human race experts would be overlords no matter where they go. Everyone became more and more aggrieved, self-blaming, and angry. The cat tree continued. The more he talked, the more carefree he felt. Awesome. Provoking these people was pretty awesome. The human king threatened him and wanted him to give them cat fruit. Was it easy for him? Provoking them now was too awesome. This was still following orders. Seeing these people's faces flushed red, as if they were about to explode, the cat tree's wicked interest arose. Would a few of them explode? He hoped not. The human king was not to be trifled with. Right. How did the human king know that he could provoke them to death? The cat tree was a little puzzled. He only looked wretched, but in reality he was not. Bastard! An angry curse rang through the clouds. Extermination was about to explode. Under his suppression, the longevity sword kept seizing opportunities to injure him. His wrist was slashed 3 times by the longevity sword, and his wrist was severed. Although it healed quickly, Extermination felt humiliated. He had embarrassed himself greatly today. Not only did he fail to kill the longevity sword quickly, but he was also injured multiple times by the other party in front of so many people. Die! Extermination's mentality erupted again, suppressing Li Changsheng. His eyes dimmed. He struck with his spear. This time, he did not stab. Instead, he swept his spear horizontally. Bam! Although Old Man Li was struggling to dodge, his waist was still blasted open by the spear. Blood gushed out. Old Man Li's eyes became clearer. The flesh and blood that shot out instantly transformed into a long sword. With a buzz, it shot through the air and pierced through Extermination's wrist again. At this moment, Old Man Li's face was pale, but he was incredibly calm. He looked at Extermination and suddenly laughed. In a hoarse voice, he said, "Useless thing. I've used up 60% of my mentality. If you can't kill me in 10 minutes, I'll kill you." Extermination's face was livid. Yes, his mentality was depleted too. It was a lot. Suppressing Li Changsheng was not easy. He could not recover his mentality infinitely, and it was difficult to replenish his depleted mentality. This was against Li Changsheng alone. If there was another powerhouse like Li Changsheng by his side, he might be exhausted to death. Moreover, he was confident that he could fight a saint. In the end, he was exhausted to death by 2 paragons. Not only that, but he could also feel that Li Changsheng was using his suppression to train himself. Li Changsheng had just ascended. His strength was not stable enough. Even his aura was unstable. However, although he was heavily injured, his strength was becoming stronger. Walking on the edge of life and death with powerhouses might be difficult to raise one's level, but it was extremely helpful in training one's own strength. Human martial artists rarely went into closed-door training. They all chose to train in the most dangerous battles. This situation had its pros and cons. It was extremely dangerous, but it was also the fastest way. They did not have time. Therefore, they could only use dangerous methods to buy time. Today, Li Changsheng was doing the same. He was consolidating everything he had. Since he could not kill Li Changsheng, Extermination's patience was completely worn out. "I was planning to let you live a little longer. Now, hurry up and go." Before he finished speaking, Old Man Li spurted a mouthful of blood, piercing his cheek again. He laughed. "What? You deserve to die." Extermination was enraged. With a rumble, Origin Chi erupted. He was not an idiot. Up until this point in the battle, how could he not feel that this person's origin could not be sealed? It was not that the origin was too strong, but it was too weak. Sealing it did not seem to have much effect. If that was the case, Then he would kill the other party in the origin. This time, Old Man Li's expression was much more solemn. As if he knew that Fong Ping wanted to attack, Old Man Li took a deep breath. Even the void trembled and shattered. Origin. I want to try. Those with strong willpower have strong origin too. Who said that if mentality is weak, then the origin is weak. He wanted to take a gamble, relying on willpower to manifest the origin and fight this person in the origin. Outside, Fong Ping's expression changed again and again. Some things could not be changed just because your willpower was strong. Old Man Li was so persistent. Perhaps he wanted to take a risk and see if he could go further with the origin Tao. When the origin Tao became stronger, he would also receive feedback. His vitality would become stronger, and his combat strength would become stronger. But this was really too dangerous. Who could be sure that their origin Tao would definitely go further in the next moment? Fong Ping's gaze changed, but his expression did not change. After hesitating a few times, he did not choose to attack in the end. Instead, he was prepared to attack at any time and slash extermination's origin Tao. Respectable, but also sad. At this moment, the divine emperor bloodline's saint suddenly sighed. What an unyielding powerhouse! It was a pity that he was born in the wrong era, in the wrong place. If the human race was stronger, this would not have happened. Of course, if the human race was strong enough to be fearless, perhaps such a powerhouse would not have been born. For the sake of the human race, he had no choice but to fight a venerable emperor. Moreover, a venerable emperor with unparalleled mentality. If extermination was experienced, he might not lose to a saint. This divine emperor bloodline's saint could not help but look at Fong Ping with some sympathy. Being born in this era was really somewhat hopeless. Beside Fong Ping, Kaidai also sighed. Entering his origin, Longevity Sword is in danger. It was probably going to die. No one mentioned how powerful extermination was. At this moment, even the enemy only felt that it was a pity that Longevity Sword was used as a whetstone by the Sky Sealing clan. As for extermination, although he was strong, it was still somewhat despicable. At this moment, Li Changxing's gaze dimmed instantly. It was the same for extermination. Both parties had entered the origin world. Everyone's hearts were in their throats, a little anxious. How long could Li Changxing last? Beside him, Wu Quishan transmitted his voice. Fong Ping remained calm and replied telepathically, "Wait a little longer. Old Man Li wants to take the opportunity to stimulate himself and advance his origin. I won't attack until the last moment." But he's holding his breath. If I attack now, this breath will dissipate. I believe in him. He can do what others can't. A rank. 6 killed a rank. 8. A rank. 9 killed a paragon. His battle record is even more glorious than old Zhang's. He can do it. Fong Ping firmly believed that he could do it. This was the Longevity Swordsman, a powerhouse who had been injured for 10 years, lying dormant for 10 years just to hone his sword. The magnificence of that sword was still unforgettable. A rank, 6 killing a rank. 8, the first person in history. Even Fong Ping, in a battle of the same rank, only gradually surpassed Old Man Li after rank 8 7th refinement. Without Fong Ping, since ancient times, how many people dared to say that they could fight Li Changsheng at the same rank? A crippled rank. 6, sharpening his sword and killing a rank. 8, this was something impossible. But he did it. Fong Ping closed his eyes, as if he could not bear to see Li Changsheng die. At this moment, the surroundings were silent. For a moment, many people felt sad. Sometimes, even though they were clearly enemies, they were still worthy of respect. Fong Ping, Li Changsheng, and all the human powerhouses were in a difficult situation. However, no one gave up, no one complained. They were all working hard to move forward, hoping to change everything. Cosmic Dragon and the other ancient saints were also deep in thought at this moment. The humans of this era were in a more difficult situation than the tribes of any other era. However, the humans of this era had also given birth to powerhouses who were worth writing about. No matter how strong they were worth mentioning. Bang! With a loud bang, Li Changxing's skull exploded, revealing the organs in his head. It was extremely horrifying. Wu Quishan moved his feet. In the next moment, he retracted his leg, looking angry. Clenching his fists, Wu Quishan's white hair stood on end. Even if he knew Fang Ping's plan, he felt helpless at this moment. The humans were still not strong enough. Otherwise, they would not have to do this. Back then, he thought that he could turn everything around when he reached the peak. Now, he was already at the peak, but he still could not change anything. He glanced at a few people from the corner of his eyes. Sky Sword. Hi you, these people were all enemies, the culprits. If not for them, this battle would not have happened. No matter how domineering the Fengtian clan was, without anyone to restrain the humans, they would not dare to rashly choose humans as their sharpening stones. Anger and unwillingness filled every human's heart. In the source world, extermination sneered. Opposite him, old man Li's figure seemed a little illusory, not real enough. Welcome to this world. Extermination regained his composure. This was his world. He was the master. The source world was very bright, very big, and also integrated with some things. Powerhouses with strong mentality would integrate their materialized objects into the source world. Right now, in his source world, a spear that pierced through the heavens and the earth was integrated. Do you know what this is? Extermination was very calm, smiling. God Destroyer spear. You should know. Old man Li was not in a hurry to fight, looking at him with an indifferent expression. Master once said that in this era, everyone has hope. Everyone should have a goal, and my goal is not you, not Fang Ping, not Zhang Tao, but extermination. Extermination picked up the spear that pierced through the heavens and the earth, smiling. This is the God Destroyer spear, extermination's divine weapon. Ever since I was young, Master has always talked about the 4 emperors, heroes who were even more outstanding than the 9 emperors in the ancient times. Master said that people like us are born to break taboos and surpass our predecessors. Everyone should have a goal, and I have chosen extermination. When I achieved ascension, I materialized the God Destroyer spear. Master was very pleased, and I stood out from many of my fellow disciples, becoming Master's last disciple, the last disciple. Extermination laughed. Do you know why I'm called Extermination? Before I achieved ascension, this wasn't my name. I only changed it later. Old Man Li spoke this time, smiling. His smile was a little helpless. You, extermination? Old man Li's smile was a little shaky. Can you stop joking? You have to know that my origin is very weak, and it will scatter if I laugh. Are you going to laugh me to death and not fight anymore? Old man Li was no longer as cold as before, laughing so hard that he was shaking. You want to make extermination emperor your goal. You want to surpass him and kill him? Humans should have dreams and goals, but can you look in the mirror? If you don't have any, how about I give you some? Is it funny? Extermination's expression was cold and fierce. He suddenly swept his spear. Before the spear reached him, old man Li's illusion had already begun to disperse. At this moment, a world appeared behind old man Li. It was very small. It was dark. In the darkness, there was only a path that led to an unknown place. There was no person or object on the path, Only swords, countless long swords, floated in the air, each of them filled with murderous intent. So what if your origin is strong? Old Manly growled. I have one sword, and that's enough. As soon as he finished speaking, Tao turned into a long sword, instantly merging into the sky-crushing sword. If you fight me in the origin world, who will live and who will die? You will die. Rumble! The sword's light pierced through the sky. This sword slashed out, killing extermination. Even the powerful origin world was shaking. However, Old Man Li's aura also weakened after this slash. Extermination was sent flying, but the spear pierced through his skull and nailed him to the ground. Old Man Li growled, sending the spear flying. He exploded again, holding the sky-crushing sword in his hand, laughing. Not enough. Killing me is so difficult. You're not worthy to fight a prodigy. As soon as he finished speaking, the long sword sliced through the air, splitting the world in half. The sword's light shattered everything. Blue veins popped on Extermination's forehead. He was even more furious. Li Changsheng was still so arrogant in his own world. How detestable. Two silhouettes were entangled in an instant. Old Man Li growled continuously. His figure was extremely fast, his eyes determined. Even if his silhouette was constantly disintegrating, he did not care. Tao. Was Tao important? Was origin important? Who said that the unification of Tao was the origin Tao? If Tao was unified, where would the origin Tao come from? Wherever I am, Tao is there. Origin is just an external object. I am strong. At this moment, the Tao that he integrated into the sky-crushing sword actually showed signs of disintegration. It was collapsing. At the same time, in the outside world, Fang Ping and the rest also saw a strange scene. Old Man Li's body seemed to be a little illusory. Beside Fang Ping, the big fat cat was originally dozing off. At this moment, its eyes suddenly widened. Its big eyes blinked a few times, then continued blinking. It blinked again and again. As if sand had entered its eyes, the cat blinked frantically. Its cat claws scratched Fang Ping, but Fang Ping did not respond. It continued to scratch. After a while, Fang Ping was a little annoyed. He turned to look at it. The cat looked at him innocently too. It felt that it was hallucinating. Liar. It was rare that the cat did not speak. Instead, it transmitted its voice. So strange, so strange. This, Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng is so strange. What? His origin. No, everyone's origin. I can actually sense it a little. His origin seems to be disappearing. Fang Ping's expression was solemn. Was he going to die? It's not that kind of disappearing. It's so strange. He seems to be about to converge. Yes, that's it. The cat was confused and a little anxious. It scratched its head with its claws until the fur on its fat head was about to fall off. This was different from him. He had converged his origin, but this Li Changsheng seemed to be walking on a different Tao. After walking on the origin Tao, would he not be able to walk on other Tao? That was not true. He did not have the Sanjiao gate. Was that considered the origin Tao? At this moment, the cat was at a loss. This batch of humans had so many tricks up their sleeves. The cat was confused and lost. In the next moment, it lay in the void, its tail slapping Fang Ping's calf. It said in a daze, "Forget it, I don't care. Anyway, this old man is so strange. I think I can share some food with him next time. It will be beneficial in the future." Fang Ping glanced at it. "Are you going to invest?" At this moment, he could not help but look at Old Man Li. What was going on? Why was his physical body showing signs of becoming illusory? As for the cat shouting, Old Man, he was too lazy to say anything. He did not have time to care either. This cat did not seem to feel that it was old. At this moment, On Sealed Sky Island, the fishing youth also looked puzzled. He was too far away, and was just watching the battle instead of being by his side. He could not see anything for a while. In the small world of Star Polaris, the God Creation Envoy was also scratching its head. After a while, it suddenly ran to the side and picked up a book to read. Myriad Tao Unification. Myriad Tao Unification is just a conjecture. It's a conjecture of Celestial Emperor's combat technique, but Celestial Emperor is not Myriad Tao Unification. That guy also has mentality. Myriad Tao Unification really appeared during the rise of the sections. A group of people derived an extreme cultivation technique for the sake of the North-South War. At that time, most of the Myriad Tao Unification did not reach the peak. Almost all of them died before rank 9. The only guy who stepped into the peak, his physical body did not reach the 9th refinement. It could be considered a fake Myriad Tao Unification. Later on, he was also killed by a guy with powerful mentality. What's going on with Li Changsheng? The God Creation Envoy was almost scratching his head. He vaguely saw something. He saw that the guy's physical body had become a little illusory between reality and illusion. What was this? How could anyone's physical body be like this? What kind of strange path did this guy take? These powerhouses were a little puzzled. Some of the saints who were watching the battle also felt that something was wrong. What he felt the most obvious was death. At this moment, the more he fought, the more shocked he became. How was this possible? The more Li Changsheng fought, the stronger he became. His body became more and more solid. Old man Li really had some enlightenment this time. His eyes were bright. He seemed to have realized what Myriad Tao Unification meant. What was his own Tao? My Tao is the only one. Wherever I am, that is where I am. What origin body, what real body, there is no need. I am me, the only me. He vaguely had a feeling. Maybe I can completely materialize my physical body into the source world to fight. I am the only existence. However, it was only the initial comprehension. Old man Li felt that this step might take a very long time, but he had found some clues. At this moment, his eyes were frighteningly bright. He looked at the destruction in front of him. He wanted to kiss him. Thank you. He wanted to thank him. You are my guiding light. It seems that I, Li Changsheng, have only found my own Tao now and know the direction of the future. I don't need to strengthen the source world. Because I am strong, I can appear in the source world and kill you. All Tao is me. Old man Li became even more happy. I finally saw hope. At this moment, outside the 9th heaven, above the gigantic, immortal origin, a vein that looked like a blood vessel gradually collapsed and dissipated. In the next moment, a powerful wave of mentality swept over and scanned the area. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared. It was unknown if it had discovered something. Chapter 1179. Taboo C. Li Changsheng's physical body became more and more illusory, as if it was about to break away from this world and merge with the void. Some inexperienced cultivators thought the longevity sword was about to die. Indeed, it looked like he was on the verge of death. Old man Li's golden body was still exploding. It looked like he was really done for. However, the experts vaguely felt that something was amiss. Fong Ping's eyes flickered. At the same time, he was on high alert. Old man Li seemed to be completing a transformation. At this moment, no one would disturb him, right? Fong Ping glanced at Sky Sword and the others from the corner of his eye. He was prepared to make a move if they interfered. Bang! Just then, Annihilation's head suddenly exploded, and he let out a shrill howl. Soon his head recovered, but now someone could no longer sit still. The coiled crocodile, and the rest of the beasts walked out from the rift with stern expressions on their faces. How could this be? To think that the longevity sword would wound the death sword in the source world. This was unbelievable. As soon as they appeared, Fong Ping's mentality locked onto them. His gaze was cold and fierce as he said lightly, "What are you doing? You want to interfere." Coiled Crocodile didn't say anything. Face serious, he looked over at Annihilation. Annihilation's face grew paler and paler. He had a look of disbelief on his face, as if he had seen something unbelievable in the source world. Coiled Alligator watched for a while and had a bad feeling in his heart. Was Annihilation going to lose? How could an expert who could seal a saint's origin be defeated by the longevity sword? This was impossible. The Coiled Crocodile pondered for a moment, then secretly transmitted a message to the other demonic beasts, saying, "Young Master Slayer doesn't seem to be in a good position. Everyone, once he looks like he's about to lose, immediately come out and stop him." Coiled Alligator. The white cat recognized the Cicadier. It was Gong Juanzi's mount. At this moment, it frowned and transmitted its voice over. "The human king is still nearby. The human king is already extremely displeased that young Master Mia has challenged the longevity sword. If we interfere now, Coiled Crocodile, do you know what we're doing?" He must be crazy. Did he really think Fong Ping was a vegetarian? This fellow's savagery was known throughout the three realms. Relying on the might of the sky-sealing progeny to force the longevity sword to accept the challenge was already akin to walking on a tightrope. If they interfered, would they not have a death wish? Was the Coiled Crocodile stupid? At this moment, unless there were a few saints keeping watch, once they intervened, the human king might completely lose his temper. Did they really think that 3 venerable sovereigns and 5 true gods could suppress the human clan? If it was that simple, the Catacombs' 9 saints would have annihilated Fong Ping long ago. The spotted deer was dissatisfied, and the other demon beasts were frowning as well. It was beyond their expectations. Although it looked like Li Changxing's injuries were more severe and Extermination might not lose, they still had to be on guard. If Extermination really lost, could they just watch Extermination get killed? That was obviously impossible. This time, the demons all felt as if their heads were about to explode. This is troublesome. Perish. What a piece of trash. The monsters cursed inwardly. Extermination was not weak and was very strong. They had fought against them before. One had to know that the monsters' physical bodies were strong, and there were even a few venerable sovereigns among them. Extermination had once sealed their source and easily defeated a few emperor-level monsters. It could be said that even if Yunmia was not a match for a saint, he definitely had the strength of a top-level venerable sovereign. It was truly powerful, but who would have thought that he would be in danger of losing against Li Changxing? How could anyone believe this? For a time, the 2 people who were still fighting had not ended their battle, but the people outside had their own thoughts. Fong Ping kept his eyes on old man Li, transmitting his voice secretly. "Protector Feng Yun, Sage Yu Wei, can you help me one more time?" No one knew what the 2 of them were up to. Later, the 2 of you will join forces with Elder Mu to hold off the 3 catacombs, saints, for a moment. Their expressions changed. What did he mean? What was Fong Ping up to? Just stop them. You don't have to worry about the other 2. Having said that, Fong Ping added, "I'm about to embark on a long journey. I'll have to trouble the 2 of you to take care of the humans in the future. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. If the Catacombs' 9 saints attack the humans, I hope that the 2 of you can step forward and help to avert the situation. I will also ask the human race to shrink their defensive line as much as possible and lay low for a while." At this time, both of them looked at Fong Ping as if they had already realized something, and their hearts were shaken. What was Fong Ping up to? Murder? Were they prepared to become enemies with the Fengtian faction? He knew how powerful the Heavenly King Seal was. Perhaps compared to the average powerhouses who had broken 8, the Heavenly King Seal might not be considered much. However, to the weak, especially the weak whose mentality was weaker than his, the Heavenly King Seal was an existence that could not be resisted at all. 100 true gods were said to be able to kill a heavenly king. However, when they encountered the Heavenly King Seal, all of their origins were sealed, and the 100 true gods were reduced to 100 rank, 9 in an instant. To the Heavenly King Seal, his biggest advantage was that he did not care about the number of people. The advantage of numbers had no effect on him at all. In front of him, the weak would only be weaker. With the true gods and emperor level sealed by him, their strength had decreased by quite a bit. The group attack mode was completely ineffective against the Heavenly King Seal. This was his terror. Fong Ping's strength was not as good as the Heavenly King Seal, and the Martial King was definitely not as good either. Once these two encountered the Heavenly King Seal, their origins would be sealed, and their combat strength would be greatly reduced. This was not something that they could defeat, even if they joined forces. Both of their expressions became slightly solemn. Was Fong Ping staking everything on one throw? It was too risky. Taoist Fengyan glanced at the battlefield and sent a voice transmission. The longevity sword seems to be evolving. I wonder if its origin Great Tao has improved. Now that the human sovereign has admitted defeat and saved Annihilation's face, I believe that the sky-sealing progeny won't go overboard. Yui's cold voice also came over. Lowering one's head appropriately is also a powerhouse's way. In the past, when the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors were weak, they were also hunted by powerhouses. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors also did that. Now that they had lowered their heads and admitted defeat, Parrish had defeated Li Chongsheng. Even if they were unwilling, they would probably not continue to force it. To both of them, this was a good choice. It was nothing more than Li Chongsheng's defeat. However, Fong Ping's expression was ice cold. Humans do not have the habit of admitting defeat. If I admit defeat today, I might as well die in battle. If I surrender and admit defeat once, there will be a second time. Moreover, now that the humans are watching, once I admit defeat, he did not continue. This would be a blow to their morale. It was better for powerhouses to die in battle at the front line. Fong Ping had made up his mind long ago. How could he change it easily? The Fengtian clan had gone too far. Fong Ping would not let it go. Old man Li seemed like he could win. If he won this time, he would definitely possess emperor-level combat strength. He was also an invincible powerhouse who had never been defeated. Fong Ping would not let old man Li admit defeat at this time. Fong Ping did not care so much. His attitude was firm. Seeing this, the 2 saints sighed softly in their hearts. What was hard was easy to break. However, this was also where Fong Ping's charm lay. Martial King Zhang Tao was more tolerant than Fong Ping. If Fong Ping was like this, he would only be the second Martial King. Although Martial King was very strong and outstanding, with such a gem in front of him, another Martial King would not be a good thing. Fong Ping was Fong Ping. He had his own path. Since he had made his choice, the 2 of them were not too familiar with each other. They did not try to persuade him anymore and agreed to it. Fong Ping began to make arrangements again. Big Cat, bring the people away later and return to Earth. As for old man Li, I'll see if I should bring him along. If old man Li really won, he would be a peerless hero. If such a person were to stay, he might become a target for the Fengtian clan and the catacombs. Fong Ping might want to bring him along. Prepare to inform old Zhang and the rest. Let them receive us. Big Cat's face was full of gloom. Again. Inform again. Do you really want to tire me to death? The source universe was so big, just looking for people was a big problem. He had to inform them, fly, and consume his origin energy. Recently, he had not eaten the fish demon. At this moment, Fong Ping's heart moved. A voice came to his ear. Kid, this longevity sword. After this battle, let him make a trip to Star City. Fong Ping's eyes were bright. He looked around and soon stopped in the void, sending a voice transmission. Senior, are you going to make a move? What? In the void rift, the God creation envoy's avatar was a little surprised. What move? I'm just asking Longevity's sword to make a trip to me. All right, then I'll leave old man Li to you, Senior. Fong Ping did not waste any time. If you're willing to protect him, then you'll bear the consequences yourself. He was also worried that old man Li would be killed when he entered the fake sky tomb. After all, there were too many powerhouses inside, and it was more dangerous than the outside world. He had to be careful even if he went alone, let alone bringing someone in. Senior, please protect Teacher Li. I think with your strength, it won't be a problem. If Heavenly King Feng dares to attack Teacher Li, then he's not giving Senior face. Fong Ping said a few words. Under the God creation envoy's dazed gaze, he directly sealed off the surroundings, not giving him a chance to send a voice transmission. In the source world, the more old man Li fought, the stronger he became. His corporeal strength seemed to be gradually merging with the origin body, using the corporeal strength to enter the origin body to fight. These were two different systems. However, at this moment, different sparks were produced when they collided. The figure that was somewhat illusory earlier was becoming more and more solid. Old man Li was overjoyed. A dazzling sword glow erupted from the long sword. Break. Void-piercing sword technique. On the other side, Doom was furious, but he was terrified. He said angrily, "Why is this happening?" The longevity sword opposite him was getting stronger and stronger, from being completely suppressed in the beginning to now it had begun to counterattack continuously. Its combat strength was so strong that he actually felt like he could not suppress it anymore. Trash, do you think you're worthy of challenging the four emperors? Old man Li's poisonous tongue was not weak either. He said mockingly, "You're not even a paragon. Who do you think you're qualified to challenge?" Doom was furious. In the next moment, a seal descended from the sky. Saint Order. He no longer sealed off the void. Something was wrong with today's situation. He wanted to kill this person as soon as possible. The longevity sword seemed to have completed an incredible transformation. This made him jealous and resentful. Kill. Doom controlled the Saint Order remotely, suppressing it directly. However, he felt somewhat helpless. Ordinary holy weapons could not enter the source world. The Saint Order was special because it was a part of a divine weapon. However, now, he actually felt somewhat helpless. The Saint Order was still very powerful in suppressing the source world, but what about Li Changxing's source world? There was a little previously. Now that he had integrated it into the sky-crushing sword, he could initially feel some of it, but now he could not feel it at all. Where did this guy's Tao of Origin go? Where's your Tao of Origin? Doom was in disbelief. He controlled the Saint Order and smashed it toward him. Old man Li suddenly unleashed an outburst of vitality. Annihilation was stunned. What was this? How could the source world unleash vitality force? Here, the outburst was all chi of origin. How could there be an outburst of vitality force? He could really feel the power of vitality force. Old man Li, who had unleashed vitality force, became even more powerful. With a slash of his sword, the Saint Order was sent flying. In the next moment, he seemed to have thought of something. He leaped into the air and grabbed the Saint Order that was flying. The Saint Order was under Doom's control, causing his body to shatter continuously. However, Old Man Li burst into laughter. Fong Ping seems to want this. I'll gladly accept it. Having said that, he roared and slashed the sky-crushing sword viciously. Sparks flew everywhere. This slash caused the Saint Order to tremble continuously. The mentality attached to it was shattered immediately. This was also Doom's method of controlling the Saint Order. However, it had encountered a divine weapon. He was not the owner of the Saint Order and did not have high control over it. The mentality attached to the surface layer was shattered instantly. Doom's silhouette trembled. Old Man Li was also surprised. Then he laughed loudly. The feelings aren't yours. With your control, you can snatch the Saint Order from anyone you meet. Trash is trash indeed. Bastard. Doom was furious. Wielding the materialized God-destroying spear, he charged toward him. Old Man Li grabbed the Saint Order with one hand and wielded his sword with the other. They were engaged in a fierce battle. Would Li Changsheng, Doom, be afraid of Doom when he was in close combat? Before this, Doom used his powerful mentality to suppress him. In the Source world, he also used his origin to suppress him. Now, the other party was still powerful. However, the suppression on Old Man Li was not as strong as before. Doom's expression changed again. What was the use of being powerful? He could not hit the enemy. He was not slow. After all, this was his world. However, Li Changsheng was extremely slippery. Perhaps it was more accurate to say that he had too much combat experience. Before Doom even made a move, the fellow seemed to know how he was going to attack. After a few times, he was covered in cuts and bruises from Li Changsheng's Sky Destroyer sword. However, Li Changsheng dodged his killer moves a few times. It was not that Doom did not lack combat experience that he could achieve Emperor level. However, he was still lacking compared to a powerhouse who had fought thousands of battles in the catacombs. Every time humans fought in the catacombs, it was a life and death battle. There was no such thing as sparring. Doom was not old. He was not even 1,000 years old. In these 1,000 years, he had been in closed-door cultivation for about 800 years. In the remaining 200 years, could he fight 10 battles in a year? Out of the 10 battles, would one be a life and death battle, living in the powerful Sealed Sky Island? How many times could he experience the horror between life and death? Compared to the average person, his combat experience was not bad. However, compared to these desperados, he was really lacking. Impossible. Doom was not satisfied. This was his first battle after leaving the mountain. How could he lose? He did not even challenge Fong Ping. He did not even care about his reputation. All he wanted was to ensure that his first battle went smoothly and accumulate some confidence for himself. Otherwise, according to his usual style, he would have challenged Fong Ping in his first battle. Seal. At this moment, Doom roared angrily again. In the void, a door appeared again, swiftly crushing down on Old Man Li. The origin sealing technique was even more powerful in the Source world. The Source world was where the Source was. He wanted to seal Li Changsheng. The door instantly crushed down on Old Man Li. At this time, Old Man Li did not dodge anymore. With a roar, the sword gleam pierced through the Source world, as if it was going to kill its way into the Source universe. With a buzz, the sealed door that could not be touched before was directly slashed open by his sword. Crack. On the other side, Doom's silhouette was illusory, the origin chi overflowing. At the same time, a crack appeared on the sealed door. Impossible. Doom was shocked beyond belief. The next moment, he roared angrily, "No, it can't be. How can you resist my origin sealing technique?" After roaring, he said with a face full of shock, "Your source, your Tao. Impossible. How can a martial artist not have an origin? Are you a beginner martial artist? Are you a beginner martial artist? Doom was terrified. His lineage had a great advantage against other source martial artists, but it did not have an advantage against beginner martial artists because the other party did not have an origin Dao. Li Changsheng was a beginner martial artist. Very soon, Doom shook his head frantically. No, beginner martial artists can't reincarnate. This world will not let people walk the path of beginner martial artists. Are you a beginner martial artist? No, that can't be. Beginner martial artists aren't like this. Death was starting to lose his mind. He was shocked. If he was not a beginner martial artist, then what was Li Changsheng? Don't tell me that Li Changsheng walked a path different from the origin Dao. At this moment, Doom was no longer confident. Suddenly thinking of something, Doom's silhouette suddenly dissipated. He wanted to leave the source world. Something was not right with Li Changsheng. Whether it was a beginner martial artist or something else, his biggest advantage had been nullified. Right now, he might not need to fight this person to the end. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. Doom wanted to run, but Old Man Li would not allow it. After all, Doom was an emperor level. Once he returned to his flesh, although his flesh was not considered strong, he was not weak either. It would be extremely difficult to kill him. It might even be impossible. On the contrary, in the source world, Doom could not use his flesh. His strength was greatly weakened. If it were anyone else, they would not be able to use their flesh and would be weakened. Naturally, it was nothing. However, Old Man Li had already sensed vitality force. Here, he was the one who had the advantage. Trying to leave, Old Man Li roared. He leaped into the air, slashing his sword toward Doom. He wanted to hold this guy back. Whether he could kill this person or not depended on the source world. Only by killing Doom would he be invincible. In this era, there were many invincible martial artists. Fang Ping was invincible. He had never lost to someone of the same rank. He had even killed a saint. King Wu was invincible. When he was also a saint, he had also killed a saint and achieved Heavenly King realm. King Suppression might be an invincible martial artist too. He seemed to have never been defeated before. These people had never been defeated, at least not by someone of the same rank. Therefore, they were all powerhouses of the invincible path. As for him, Li Changsheng, he was not too eye-catching among these people. However, today, he wanted to give it a try. He wanted to kill a venerable emperor. Life sword. A loud roar reverberated through the world. The life sword was unleashed. Tens of thousands of phantoms were annihilated. Doom roared. He waved his spear and destroyed countless shadows in an instant. Demon martial sword. An earth-shattering sword gleam appeared again. There were no more shadows. There was only a sword. Poof! Half of Doom's body was smashed into pieces. Old Man Li was panting. He seemed to be preparing something. At this moment, he picked up the Saint's order and kept attacking Doom's source world. He laughed. I've created many combat techniques all these years. However, the most powerful demon martial sword was taught to me by my teacher. The void-piercing sword was taught to me by Commander Li. I've actually only created the longevity sword and the life sword. A few days ago, I've been thinking about which sword is the most powerful. I've been thinking. Today, I might have an answer. Doom's expression was ugly. He did not reply. He could not leave. He had invited a wolf into his house. If he left now, his source world would be destroyed by this guy. At this moment, Old Man Li had returned to his reserved state. There was no sword gleam, no sword aura, and no powerful aura. I have a sword that can break a person's longevity. Once the sword is unleashed, longevity will be broken, and the path will be destroyed. I don't need to slash your flesh, your spirit, or your path, because my sword is one and only. Once the sword is unleashed, the enemy will die. Old Man Lee's sonorous voice reverberated in the source world, destroying the flesh, destroying the spirit, breaking the path. Don't you find it troublesome? I only have one sword to rule the world. This sword is called the lifeless sword. Slash. A low roar shook the void. Lifeless sword. Once the sword was unleashed, death awaited if one could not block it. If one could block it, run. Crack. The source world was torn apart. The dome above was torn apart, revealing the vast universe outside. Doom roared and roared. The source world was heavily damaged. He was gravely injured. Gather. Condense. Seal. Doom roared again and again. In the void, countless doors appeared, wrapping around him. The source chi was extremely dense. He did not retaliate, defend. With this sword, he felt a fatal crisis. At the same time, he struggled to let a wisp of his consciousness escape. In the outside world, his flesh moved slightly, shattering a small jade tablet hidden in his heart. Request for help. This jade tablet contained a powerhouse's spirit. Shattering meant that he was in mortal danger. He requested for help. The Sky Sealing clan had countless powerhouses. Someone would come to save him. At this moment, everyone in the outside world felt something different. Doom's flesh was collapsing. Li Changxing's flesh was almost transparent. Coiled Crocodile and the other demons' expressions changed. Coiled Crocodile roared, "Stop! This could not continue." Coiled Crocodile broke through the air and charged into the battlefield. He felt danger. Doom seemed to be in trouble. "I'll break your path to longevity." At this moment in the void, a loud roar resounded everywhere. Old Man Lee's flesh returned to normal. His vitality soared. In the sky above where the two were fighting, a mini-world suddenly appeared. At this moment, Old Man Lee's flesh rose into the air. He stepped into this illusory world. This was just a projection. It was just a manifestation of the Great Path and the Source World. However, at this moment, he really stepped into it and became one with the Li Changsheng in the mini-world. Buzz. A thick, murderous aura exploded from the sky-crushing sword. It slashed down. "No, Master, save me!" Doom's shrill cry came. He could not believe it. He did not dare to believe it. He did not want to believe it. How could his first battle, be like this? He did not lose to a human king or a martial king. He lost to the longevity sword. Uft. The sound of steel breaking rang out. In the void, the projection world that appeared was directly cut into two halves. At this moment, sword aura exploded and spread. Parrish's body was directly sliced into two, just like the small world. And then it exploded with a bang. The spear in his hand shot out. The holy weapon armor was slightly broken. Its light dimmed and floated in the air. His mentality could not be seen because it had been destroyed by the sword. After all, he was not a sage. He did not have the physical strength of a sage. Rumble! A huge boom rang out as the shattered minor world exploded into pieces. Li Changsheng held his sword and walked down from the sky. He entered reality from the source world. The sky was broken. This time, there was no great path. There was no great path either, because it had been cut. Splash! A rain of blood fell. This rain of blood was comparable to the fall of a sage. The whole world was silent. Coiled Crocodile, who was halfway in the air, was stunned. Sky Sword, who was about to attack, was stunned. Everyone was stunned. 10,000 miles away, a middle-aged man who was about to tear open the void suddenly froze. He slowed down for a moment and was also stunned beyond belief. Doom was dead. Dead. the strongest descendant of the sky-sealing progeny, had fallen as soon as he left the mountain. "How dare you?" An angry roar echoed for 10,000 miles. At this moment, in the void, the blood clouds were torn apart. A shockingly long passage appeared. The middle-aged man was furious. 10,000 miles away, his eyes glowed. He wanted to kill everyone with his gaze. Li Changsheng won. Not only did he win, but he also killed Doom. Unbelievable. P.S. The upstairs is being renovated. The noise is so loud that I'm going to collapse. Let's see if they're going to renovate tonight. Chapter 1180. In midair, Old Man Li had exhausted everything and fell powerlessly. However, at this moment, who dared to underestimate the longevity sword? Longevity, swordsman breaking longevity. From rank 6 to emperor level. At the peak of rank 9, he killed a true god. Once he reached the peak, he killed a top-notch powerhouse whose mentality was comparable to a saint. This was the second Fang Ping. Terrifying, shocking. At this moment, everyone even forgot about the powerhouse on the other side of the passageway. The coiled crocodile and the other demons were stunned. Someone was not. The moment Old Man Li killed the powerful enemy, the moment the passageway was opened, like a ghost, someone moved. Fang Ping, the most terrifying powerhouse of the same rank, no one else. He was also the most terrifying saint-level powerhouse among everyone present. No one else. Soundless. When a powerhouse with saint-level combat strength chose to assassinate you instead of fighting you head-on, the victim would know fear. Like this moment, among the 3 great emperor-level demons, other than the coiled crocodile, and the last of the cicadere, their eyes were filled with terror. The moment the longevity sword destroyed it, its origin of great Tao was severed by someone. While everyone was in shock, Fang Ping was like a ghost. Other than Feng Yun and Yu Wei, who felt a little, the others did not react. And in the instant that he moved, he severed an emperor-level great Tao. So sudden. This emperor-level demon did not have time to react and was killed by Fang Ping on the spot. Bang. In the sky, the space was torn apart. In an instant, following the destruction of Death Tao, another Tao was broken. He died with everlasting regret. At this moment, this emperor-level demon's true form appeared. It was a gigantic leopard demon. His 1,000-meter-long true form appeared in an instant and then fell. "Small," someone exclaimed. Before he could finish, another demon's true form appeared. It looked like a qilin, slightly smaller than the leopard demon. A true god demon was killed. Powerful, incomparably powerful. Fang Ping's saint-level strength was really powerful, especially with the god-slaying saber. He could break into the origin, which was even more terrifying. Fang Ping, who had surpassed a rank, killing the weak, was actually similar to the Sky-Sealing clan. The Sky-Sealing clan sealed the other party's origin, while Fang Ping severed the other party's Tao. It was actually almost the same. These people who were weaker than him were exceptionally easy to kill. The great Tao collapsed one after another. Fast, too fast. It happened in the blink of an eye. Fear, panic, fear, the threat of death. At this moment, countless emotions enveloped everyone. Fang Ping was like the Grim Reaper. With a smile on his face, he beheaded an emperor and a true god in an instant. His sky-high hands fell. 2 saint tokens sealed the void, and the god-slaying saber was unleashed again. Kacha, the great Tao, was severed once more. The holy artifact spear that had been hurtling through the air was caught by him and casually tossed out. A fleeing true divinity, Yao had barely taken a single step when the spear pierced through him and nailed him to the void. His shrill screams reverberated through the skies. The heaven-supporting great hand descended again. It was incomparably large, covering all of the fiend race experts. With a honglong sound, a true deity fiend race expert was crushed to death. In the sky, the blood clouds didn't even have time to condense, and blood gushed out. It was as if the sky had broken. Fong Ping seemed to be taking a stroll. At this moment, only the cicadere and coiled alligator, the two emperor ranks, and a true god demon were left. Bastard, outside the 10,000 miles passageway, an angry roar came. Before the voice faded, Fong Ping casually slashed with his saber, beheading the true god demon. A huge golden water buffalo fell to the ground. On the other side, Li Wuji only looked over now. The buffalo's eyes widened. So many demons had died. Was this the death of its own kind? It only saw this side. Some rank 9 martial artists didn't even notice this side, only hearing that angry roar. 5 true gods, 3 emperor ranks. Almost in an instant, 5 true gods had fallen, and 1 emperor rank was killed. The 8 monsters that claimed to be able to fight a saint were like pieces of paper in front of Fong Ping. Stop, Sky Sword, and the others only reacted now, but they did not make a move to stop him. Only an idiot would stop him. Letting Fong Ping kill them would completely offend the Sky Sealing clan. He was crazy. This guy was too crazy. Now, let the Sky Sealing clan seek revenge on him. Celestial Court could wait and see the situation. Sky Sword, the saint, only reacted now. One could imagine how fast it was. Coiled alligator, the burly man, had reverted to his true form at this moment, an incomparably huge crocodile. The cicadere had also reverted to its true form, its forehooves stepping on the air, extremely terrified. Dead. In the blink of an eye, they were all dead. This was Fong Ping. This was a ruthless person. In the 3 realms, he was the ruthless person who had killed the most powerhouses. The true gods, emperor ranks, and saints who had died in Fong Ping's hands had definitely surpassed martial kings and some ancient powerhouses. Too many, too many. In these few months, the rain of blood had not stopped. In these few months, the roar of Tao had not stopped. The cicadere was terrified. Why did the Sky Sealing clan have to provoke this ruthless person? Were they crazy? At this moment, Fong Ping's indifferent voice rang in its ears. Since you're a North Sea Mount, go to the Ash Cat, or die. 2 emperors were not easy to kill. The cicadere did not resist at all. It shrank its body instantly, dashing toward the Ash Cat in the blink of an eye, roaring, "Ash Emperor, save the little demon!" The yawning cat had not stopped yawning when it saw so many dead demons. It was also surprised. Then it looked at the cicadere blankly. Very quickly, it leaped into the air and jumped onto the cicadere. "Eat the meat." That was all the cat said. As soon as it said that, the cicadere seemed to have experienced it before. Without another word, it descended. Until now, the corpse of the first leopard emperor rank demon that had been killed had landed. The ash cat curled its tail. In an instant, the emperor rank demon's corpse was kept by it. As for the other 5 demons, the corpses of 4 of them were still intact. They were also picked up and kept by the ash cat. The last one was crushed by Fong Ping. The ash cat was a little annoyed. With a slap of its tail, the corpse was sent flying, crashing into the Forbidden Sea with a bang. At this moment, some of the rank 9s around them finally reacted. In the next moment, a few rank 9 martial artists were ready to make a move. They wanted to seek wealth in the midst of danger. However, at this moment, a huge mouth suddenly emerged from the sea. The Jiao swallowed the demon's corpse that the ash cat did not want, its face full of pride. This king was so smart. It had been waiting to eat the meat for a long time. Unfortunately, it was too fast. The big cat had already picked up the other corpses. On the other side, the non-chief force bull's face was full of regret. Why did I not think of this? But there was still an Emperor rank demon. The non-chief force hurriedly looked at the coiled alligator. At this moment, this gigantic alligator roared madly with mentality, "You can't kill me! I am. Save me, second young master. Save me." It was crazy. Too powerful. Fong Ping took less than 3 seconds to kill the 6 demons. Definitely not. In the passageway thousands of miles away, that middle-aged man, the second young master it was talking about, took a second to tear the space apart. At this moment, he had just walked more than half the distance, and also took a second. He would need at least another second to arrive. It would only take 3 seconds for this powerhouse to arrive. However, Fong Ping did not even take that long to kill. At this moment, in the midst of the coiled alligator's scream, the origin chi on its body overflowing wildly, 2 Saint orders came crashing down directly. The coiled alligator struggled violently, erupting madly. Fong Ping frowned slightly. Killing an Emperor rank that was prepared in 1 second was very difficult. It looked like he was going to fail. That powerhouse was about to arrive. He could feel it. Very powerful. It was at least the strength of a top-notch saint. Fong Ping felt slightly regretful. At this moment, Fong Ping's expression suddenly changed. At this moment, the coiled alligator's huge golden eyes suddenly dimmed. Not far away, the gray cat had already landed below them on its cicadeer. It opened its claws, its face full of anticipation. "Fall down quickly." Fong Ping could not help but laugh. The gray cat did it. This cat was very powerful. The moment Fong Ping slashed, this cat pulled the coiled alligator's origin into its cat world and stabbed it to death. It was not that the gray cat did not kill. It killed. It killed demons because it felt that cats eating fish was a matter of course. Crocodiles were also fish. How powerful was the gray cat exactly? Its physique was almost at the level of a saint. Moreover, its origin was so powerful. Perhaps its mentality was stronger than a saint, comparable to a heavenly king. Origin and psychic energy were closely related. The gray cat did not use its hands to kill demons. It only stabbed the other party to death in the source world, no matter how strong the other party was. The giant crocodile's corpse fell silently. The gray cat was a little happy. It had picked up food again. The corpses of 2 emperor ranks and 5 true gods. As for stabbing the coiled alligator to death just now, the gray cat did not feel guilty at all. It was not the cat who killed it. It was the liar who killed it. Even if it was the cat who killed it, it was just killing fish and eating meat. It was nothing. Rumble. In the sky, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Blood rained down. Dead. 8 demons, except for the cicadeer. The rest were all dead. At this moment, Fong Ping broke through the air and appeared below Old Man Li in an instant. He caught the powerless Old Man Li and said with a smile, "Fortunately, you didn't fall into the water." As soon as these words came out, there was silence everywhere. Some saints broke through the air, one after another, and gathered together in an instant. Terrifying. The moment Li Chongqing fell, Fong Ping killed 2 venerable emperors and 5 true gods. At this moment, even the second young master who had just torn through the space and rushed over had a drastic change in expression. Fong Ping smiled. He reached out and grabbed, taking the saint armor and the saint token that Old Man Li was holding into the source world. Then he lifted Old Man Li with one hand and threw him into the void. After settling everything in an orderly manner, Fong Ping then looked at the middle-aged man, who was less than 1,000 meters away from him. The domineering middle-aged man, the angry middle-aged man. Everyone was silent. There was only the sound of rain. The rainwater dripped into the sea. If it were not for the color of blood, perhaps there would be some romantic atmosphere. However, who could feel the romance at this moment? Their hearts were cold, trembling. This was Fong Ping, the overlord of humans, the ruthless bastard of the three realms, King Fong Ping. In the blink of an eye, out of the 9 powerhouses who could suppress a party, 8 were dead, including Annihilation. Obviously, Fong Ping had made up his mind long ago. Even if Li Changsheng could not kill Annihilation, he would definitely kill them. Seeing that he dealt with the demons so decisively, everyone instantly understood that Fong Ping had made up his mind long ago. He was not afraid of the Sky Sealing Clan at all. Everyone thought that he had compromised, but in reality, he was prepared to kill everyone in the Sky Sealing Clan. In the void, Fong Ping allowed the blood to drip onto the ground. His clothes were stained red. Fong Ping smiled. His teeth were snow white, not golden. This Sky Sealing Clan powerhouse, can you tell me your name? Fong Ping's smile was so bright that it was chilling. Even though the powerhouse opposite him was already a peak saint and was about to break through to Heavenly King, he could not help but shudder at this moment. He knew Fong Ping, but at this moment, he still found it unbelievable and unbelievable. This was Fong Ping? Suddenly, someone in the crowd shouted, "Overlord!" The middle-aged man turned his head and saw that it was Fong Yun who had shouted his name. Taoist Fong Yun had a strange look in his eyes as he murmured, "It's you, the Overlord who dominated misery and led the sea demons to attack the Earth Emperor God dynasty." The middle-aged man, who was the Overlord, glanced at him but did not say anything. On the other side, Qing Mo's eyes were cold. She frowned and wanted to say something but stopped. She was the temple master of the Earth Emperor God dynasty. During that era, there had been several riots. One of them was when the sea demons invaded the Earth Emperor God dynasty. During that era, the largest demon forbidden land was also built in the sea. At that time, the sea guardians seemed to be in seclusion and did not show up. This overlord had subdued many of the sea demons and led them to attack the Earth Emperor God dynasty, causing a great war. They had thought that this person was dead. Back then, this person was killed by the top powerhouses of the Earth Emperor God dynasty. Why was he still alive? And he was actually a member of the Sky Sealing progeny. This person was famous for his physique and was known as the Second Tyrant Emperor. He was actually a member of the Sky Sealing progeny. Taoist Fong Yun seemed to know something. The look in his eyes changed. "You're the second disciple of the Sky Sealing progeny. Then is the eldest disciple the chaotic Heavenly King, or the great Saint Heaven Reverse, who was defeated by the chaotic Heavenly King?" The Overlord looked at him, slightly surprised. He said coldly, "You're quite knowledgeable." He was a little surprised that the other party had recognized him and guessed his identity as the eldest senior brother. At this moment, Fong Ping suddenly burst into laughter. "Heaven Reverse, Overlord, Annihilation, is there another disciple in your progeny who calls himself Shan?" "Ha ha!" Fong Ping laughed so hard that tears were coming out of his eyes. The other parties had different expressions. They did not connect the dots before. At this moment, they began to recall. This progeny was really bold. The battle, Annihilation, Overlord, and Zhan Emperors seemed to have their own ideas. The Overlord looked at Fong Ping. His pressure shook the sky and the void. Fifth heaven was broken. Not only was the fifth heaven broken, but the sixth heaven was also showing signs of shattering. A top-notch saint. Perhaps it was the same as Moon Spirit from before. The only difference was that Moon Spirit had divine weapons, and 2 at that. This person might not have 1. Otherwise, this person might not be weaker than Moon Spirit. An existence comparable to the 2 kings, the existence of Moon Spirit before she broke through. incomparably powerful, an existence that would not immediately fall into a disadvantageous position when fighting with a heavenly king. This was the trump card that the fishing youth felt was not a problem. As long as he was there, Annihilation would not die. However, Annihilation died. Not only did he die, but 7 of the 8 island-guarding divine beasts that he brought with him died. The remaining 1 became the cat's mount. In fact, the Cicadere had been ridden by the cat countless times in the early years. From the way it skillfully brought the cat to pick up the carcass, it could be seen that it had such experience. Fong Ping. The Overlord's eyes were cold. His body was muscular. With 1 step, he broke through the void and approached Fong Ping. His pressure shook the sky. Some true god powerhouses retreated at this moment, terrified. A powerhouse close to the heavenly king rank had arrived. Something big was going to happen this time. Fong Ping's body was not muscular. Compared to the Overlord, he was a little thin and weak. At this moment, he was all smiles, and his tone was indifferent. Very angry, very unhappy. You can kill my human race, but I can't kill your people. The Overlord said coldly, if the demon race is killed, then so be it. The longevity sword actually dared to kill Annihilation. Fong Ping, hand over the longevity sword. Otherwise, I will wipe out your human race today. A toad yawns. What big words? Fong Ping shouted coldly. The god-slaying saber appeared. Today, if your bloodline does not produce a heavenly king, I will definitely kill you. Rumble. The sky and earth changed color. A pillar of vitality pierced through the void. On the other side, the Overlord erupted with energy. The energy-light pillar also pierced through the sky and earth. Pressure erupted. In all directions, everyone distanced themselves. Even Sky Sword and the other 2 were far away at this time. This was because Feng Yun, Yu Wei, and Tianmu were staring at them. On the other side of the catacombs, the 6 saints crossed the void and arrived. At this moment, the God creation avatar had no choice but to appear. Old Man Li grabbed his arm tightly and appeared together. In silence, Jiang Hao's face was illusory. Without saying a word, he broke through the air and arrived. Cosmic Dragon and Kai Dai were just about to leave when a cat riding a deer appeared in front of them. The big cat widened its eyes and looked at Kai Dai. It just looked at her, looked again and again, looked and looked. Kai Dai's expression stiffened. After looking at Kai Dai, the big cat looked at Cosmic Dragon again. A fishing rod appeared in its hand. The tip of the fishing rod was extended to Cosmic Dragon's forehead. The big cat nodded, and the fishing rod poked Cosmic Dragon's forehead. Poked once and poked again. Cosmic Dragon's expression was also stiff. The big cat did not say a word. It looked at Kai Dai and poked Cosmic Dragon, as if it was addicted to playing. It continued to look and poke. Kai Dai was really helpless under its gaze. She said in a low voice, Cat, the Spirit Emperor's bloodline was weak back then. There were not many saints. And now, you? The cat looked at her and was a little unhappy. After thinking for a while, it rubbed its stomach with its claws. A moment later, a phoenix crown appeared in its hand. The cat directly hung the small phoenix crown on its head. It looked especially funny. However, Kai Dai's expression changed. She bowed slightly and sighed. Kai Dai understands. This was the Spirit Emperor's phoenix crown. At this time, the cat used the fishing rod to hit Cosmic Dragon's head again. Bang, bang, bang. At the side, Long Xian grimaced in pain. This was a saint. How could this cat be like this? Cosmic Dragon's expression changed for a while. He said slowly, this time, Emperor Tsang, the Beast Emperor's bloodline is also very weak. It is not as good as the other bloodlines. It cannot fight with all its strength. Their strength was not considered strong. After all, the demon race had risen later. There were not many powerhouses. The Spirit Emperor's bloodline was the same. If they attacked and fell, it would be very troublesome. Only then did the cat become happy. Its tail slapped the cicadere. In the next moment, it looked at the God Creation Envoy, its eyes full of excitement. The Walk Old Man. The God Creation Envoy did not look at it, as if it did not see it. It stared at Fong Ping and the others, motionless. I am not the God Creation Envoy. You have the wrong person. I am not. I really am not. Don't look at me. I will not hit the walk, nor will I forge divine weapons. I am watching the show now. The cat still wanted to speak. At this moment, there was a sudden roar from Fong Ping and the others. Powerful energy waves swept in all directions. The sea was evaporated. The golden boots under Fong Ping's feet were crushed. In an instant, another pair of golden boots appeared. He stepped on the void and retreated hundreds of meters. The Overlord's body trembled slightly, but it did not move at all. Fong Ping, the Overlord spoke again, saying coldly, "You want to fight me? You are not qualified enough." Fong Ping gently wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said with a smile, "I am 21 years old." The Overlord's eyes were cold, but his heart was shaken. Fong Ping seemed to be stronger. What kind of monster was this? Although he was stronger than Fong Ping, the strength of their golden bodies was not much different. One must know that Fong Ping had just achieved peak Tao. Even if he had the combat strength of a saint, combat strength was combat strength. And the realm was the realm. He was a peerless powerhouse who was only one step away from entering the Heavenly King realm. Today, under one blow, he actually could not completely suppress Fong Ping. Terrifying. This kind of person was even more terrifying than Luan and his own eldest senior brother, Heaven Conqueror. More terrifying than the two kings, more terrifying than Hongyu, more terrifying than the Demon Emperor. Also, the longevity sword who killed extermination today was also shocking. What kind of heaven-defying powerhouses were they? At this moment, Fong Ping was no match for this top-notch saint, but he was not afraid at all. "Can you kill me?" "No way. If you are not a heavenly king, if you want to kill me, wash up and sleep." As for the Sky Sealing Clan's origin sealing technique, he did not know if this person knew it. He did not seem to be a powerhouse who walked the path of mentality. If he could not seal the origin, could he do anything to him? Even if he could, he had 3 saint tokens to suppress the origin. His Tao was vast. Could these guys seal him? Unless a heavenly king came, and his mentality was much stronger than his. Otherwise, the saints could forget about sealing him. Fong Ping wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and smiled faintly. The Catacombs' 9 saints are alive. The 9 saints are watching. I will fight the Sky Sealing Clan to the death. I don't care how many people die. If the 9 saints are not watching, then I will not fight to the death. As soon as he said this, the 6 sages who had just arrived gathered with Tianjian and the other 2. They did not speak. The governor was silent for a moment. Suddenly, he said, "Kill Fong Ping. Heavenly King, take action. Overlord, your bloodline, peerless Heavenly King, let's call a truce." Without a Heavenly King, could a saint, even a top-notch saint, kill Fong Ping? Kai Dai, Yu Wei, Feng Yun, Universe Long, Jiang Hao, the God Creation Envoy, Tian Mu, a total of 7 experts with the strength of a saint. Lin Hai had not appeared yet. Fong Ping himself had the combat strength of a saint. Once the cat made a move, he might be able to trap a saint. The governor did not want to go crazy. He didn't want to fight a meaningless battle with the Heaven Sealing sect. Without a heavenly king, he wouldn't fight. Otherwise, Even if they won, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. The tyrant's face was cold. He did not expect that even a top-notch sage like him would end up like this. Even the catacombs' 9 saints did not dare to fight. At this moment, the void trembled. In an unknown place far away, in the depths of the forbidden sea, an aura that pierced through the heavens, and earth rose. A world appeared above the sea like a mirage. It was a celestial realm. Immortal palaces, treasure halls, immortals, heaven reverse is here. 3 realms. It's been a long time. A godlike silhouette appeared. With one step, he traveled thousands of miles, treading on air. The world moved with him. Heavenly King. The Heavenly King had appeared. Under the sky-sealing clans, Heavenly King, there was actually a Heavenly King powerhouse. During the chaotic years, he once fought with the chaotic Heavenly King. He was no match for the chaotic Heavenly King, the great Saint Heaven Reverse who fled in defeat. The governor and the others' expressions changed. Then their eyes moved slightly. The Heavenly King had appeared, slaying a king. This was also a Heavenly King who cultivated mentality. It was enough to seal Fong Ping, and even the other sages on Fong Ping's side. An incomparably huge threat was coming. Chapter 1181. The Heavenly King had descended. The tyrant heaved a sigh of relief. Eldest senior brother had come out of seclusion. On the other side, the will of the 9 saints moved. The expressions of Feng Yun and the others changed slightly. This was a powerhouse that could seal source energy, a Heavenly King powerhouse. Trouble was big. However, at this moment, Fong Ping chuckled and said softly, "Do you think the human race is very weak? After beating up the young one, the old one had to come? What bullsh *T sky ceiling sect? If they really have the guts, why don't they wait for the human race's powerful cultivators to return and open up another world for a massacre? If we can't annihilate the sky ceiling sect, then it's because we're useless and deserve to be annihilated." Fong Ping sneered. "Disdain. The human race has experts. Did the sky ceiling sect really think that they were strong? The heaven-suppressing Heavenly King couldn't deal with Feng. A martial king could not defeat Doqian. If he continued to grind it out with this tyrant, it would be hard to tell who would emerge victorious. The human race still has a large number of peerless peak experts, and there are even emperors. Can't they exterminate your bloodline? What was he being so arrogant for?" Fong Ping laughed. He ignored the overlord and looked into the distance. Very, very far away. If the other party wanted to come, it was normal for them to walk for a minute. A journey of hundreds of thousands of miles was, in fact, fast enough to make one's hair stand on end. However, Fong Ping was not in a hurry. At this moment, Fong Ping looked at the God-Forging Envoy and said with a smile, "Senior God-Forging Envoy, are you willing to fight with your true body and lend me a hand? Today, we will exterminate the heaven-sealing bloodline." The God Creation Envoy's eyes moved slightly and said indifferently, "If I can't seal it, this old man will not appear. There are some things you don't understand." Fong Ping smiled. "I see. In that case, that old tortoise Feng might not dare to show up this time." "I don't think so. Just this one Heavenly King." "Probably." Fong Ping laughed again. Looking into the distance, his chi activity erupted, shaking the surroundings. "Heaven Reverse. How about Emperor Heaven Reverse?" Fong Ping quipped. "Heavenly King, killing geniuses to gather luck, what a trashy idea." One by one, they were defeated by others. You lost to Wan. This so-called overlord lost to Hong Yu. You were even weaker than the longevity sword. You were killed on the spot. Your lineage is really rotten. The overlord's aura shook the heavens, closing in on Fong Ping once again. Saint-grade armor appeared on Fong Ping's body. He laughed. Thank you, you bunch of gift-giving kids. I have a saint-tier armor. My defense is even stronger. I have the sacred spear, so it will be easier for me to kill the enemy. Also, I have a sage token to stabilize my foundation. Many thanks. The tyrant's face was cold as he approached again. Fong Ping ignored him, turned around, and said again, Senior God Envoy, I'll leave Teacher Li to your care. This bloodline was shameless to the extreme. After beating up the young, the old came. They probably wouldn't be satisfied. I'll take the dog for a walk and bring this tyrant and that heavenly king for a stroll. Please protect my teacher, and don't let him get killed. Fong Ping's laughter shook the heavens. He said loudly, Fighting King, I'll be waiting for you in front. Heavenly kings are nothing more than this. Ha ha ha. Fong Ping laughed out loud. He walked on air. The overlord threw a punch, but Fong Ping did not retaliate. He continued to walk on the midair step at an extremely fast speed. The tyrant snorted coldly and tore through the void again. He quickly caught up and attacked the void again. Fong Ping turned around, his saber slashing through the void. Rumble! Origin chi erupted. The overlord's body trembled slightly, but he recovered quickly. His gaze was cold and fierce. Fong Ping's slash still had some effect on him. However, it did not affect him much. Fong Ping entered his origin world and was still not a match for him. He injured the enemy 800 times and himself 1,000 times. The recoil that Fong Ping suffered was even greater. However, in this way, it also delayed his pursuit. Further behind, Sky Sword and the others were just about to catch up when Protector Wind Cloud and the others stepped on the midair one after another, looking at the 9 saints. The cat rode on the cicadere, pressing down on the cicadere a little. It swaggered and said, Don't chase. Just stay here. What's wrong with the 9 saints? I'll stab you to death. Just stay here. You hear me? The cat was very arrogant. I've made a killing this time. I've got a lot of backers. My backer is full. Look, the big dog is out. The cat captain is out. The fake human emperor is a heavenly king. The liar has the combat strength of a saint. And now I want to invest in Li Chongshen. I've even given away the Sky Destroyer sword. Isn't this rich? Yes, and the frying pan is here too. The cat was getting more and more arrogant. Arrogant. As for the Fengtian clan, that came now. What does it have to do with me? The 9 saints looked unfriendly. The cat didn't care at all and shouted, Squat! No, just stand. As the cat spoke, it shouted, Don't stare at the cat. Those who stare at the cat are all dead. If you dare to hit me, the big dog will be back soon. The frying pan old man's real body will also appear. At this moment, Wu Quishan and the others seemed to have gotten to know the cat. This cat was different from before. The first time he saw old Zhang, he was so scared that he ran away quickly. Why was he so arrogant now? The cat was proud. Of course it was different. The first time he came out of the mountain, there was only Gong Juanzi, an old man, and he was only at the emperor stage. 18 clones. How many people can survive? The God Creation Envoy's eyes were a little unfriendly as he said coldly, Are you sure you want to provoke this old man? At this moment, the avatar's body grew larger and larger. In the air, a crack appeared, as if a small world was about to descend. The God Creation Envoy's eyes became colder and colder. Scram! Otherwise, a heavenly king will definitely fall today. The Battle King's expression changed slightly. Main body! This old fellow's main body was really here. At the same time, in the distance, someone laughed and said, Blacksmith, why bother? A group of juniors playing around. Is there a need to be angry? There was no one, only a voice. The God creation envoy sneered, the small world in the sky dissipated, and said playfully, "Fong, don't play this game with this old man. It's fine if you don't provoke this old man, but if you dare to challenge this old man again, this old man will get 18 divine weapon clones and play with you. Blacksmith, there are so many divine weapons. Give me a few. If you have the ability, then come and take it. I'm just afraid that you don't have the life to do so." Ha ha ha. In the distance, a hearty laughter could be heard. In the next moment, he no longer cared about the God creation envoy and laughed. "Do Qian, don't care about this blacksmith. Go and kill Fong Ping, human king. He has some ability, but killing my sex people, it's a little too much." Yes, the battle king no longer cared about the God creation envoy and the others. He stepped on the air and chased into the distance. At this time, the God creation envoy regained his composure. He sneered and muttered, "You're still provoking me. I've given you face." Just as he finished speaking, his body stiffened. A cat was pawing at his thigh pitifully, its face full of anticipation. 18 semi-divine weapons. 18 divine weapons. This was what the Wok said himself. There were so many clones. Moreover, it was not a simple clone, but the kind that had fused with semi-divine weapons. Maybe there really were 18 divine weapons. The God creation envoy cursed in his heart. "I'm just bragging, okay? How could there be 18 divine weapons? These 18 semi-divine weapons are my life savings. I have a great use for them. Why are you grabbing my leg?" The one who beat the pot, the God creation envoy's face turned even darker. "Who beat the pot? It's fine if you're a blacksmith, but you're even beating the pot. Am I beating the pot for you? Do you believe that I won't beat the pot and stew this fat cat of yours? Divine weapon. Pot." The God creation envoy did not bat an eyelid. He kicked his leg, wanting to get rid of the cat, but the cat was holding on tightly. He could not kick it away for a while. This time, the God creation envoy did not care about it anymore. He did not say anything and walked towards Fong Ping and the others. When the others saw this, their eyes moved slightly, and they also chased after him. The God creation envoy was very powerful. It seemed like he was about to descend with his true body just now. In the end, Heavenly King Fong, who was far away, felt threatened. He felt that Do Tian was not his match and chose to avoid it. However, everyone could also see that these top powerhouses seemed to be a little afraid of something. The God creation envoy's true body did not appear, and Heavenly King Fong did not appear either. Everyone had a tacit understanding and did not make a move. Since that was the case, although the 9 saints of the catacombs were afraid, they did not leave at this moment. They wanted to see Fong Ping's fate. Fong Ping was not even a match for the Overlord, let alone a heavenly king. This time, if he was not careful, Fong Ping would die. As for the God creation envoy, he might not make a move. Even if he made a move, Heavenly King Fong might also make a move to stop him. Everyone was even looking forward to it. It would be best if they fought. These 2 powerhouses were both old antiques. One was one of the 4 ancient envoys, and the other was the chief of the ancient extreme path lineage. They were both very terrifying. It would be a good thing for such a character to die in a fight. In front, Fong Ping walked in the air. From time to time, he would counterattack. Saber/Dao. The consumption of wealth was very large. However, Fong Ping did not care. With 3 holy weapons in hand, he was out of danger. Naturally, there would be wealth in his account. If one slash did not have any effect, dozens of slashes, hundreds of slashes, there would be an effect in the end. Behind, the Overlord was already feeling the pressure. Fong Ping had slashed him dozens of times, a little damage at a time. After dozens of times, The origin of Tao was also a little turbulent. Although Fang Ping himself was also injured, this guy's origin of Qi was consumed desperately healing his injuries. He was actually vaguely fighting against him. Fang Ping, can you run away? Behind, the Heavenly King's aura was already approaching. The Overlord's voice was cold. Fang Ping could not run away. Eldest senior brother came and directly sealed the other party. Fang Ping's combat strength would drop instantly. He would definitely die. Run. Fang Ping sneered. Continue chasing. In the end, I'll make you suffer. I've ambushed Tengu and Sherpa in front. I'll kill you bunch of trash. Do you think I'll be deceived? The Overlord sneered. Tengu and Sherpa have already gone to the Sky Cemetery. I know better than you. That place is their battlefield. Moreover, even if they were there, they would have appeared long ago. Why would they wait until now? The Sky Sealing clan is not afraid of them. Who doesn't know how to brag? Brag. The Overlord sneered. Behind, Battle King also said coldly, frog at the bottom of a well. In ancient times, Sherpa and the others were also very respectful when they met Master. When Tengu met Master, he also ran away with his tail between his legs. Even if they come, what can they do? The Sky Sealing King was very strong. This was an undeniable fact. The Tengu and Sherpa of that period were definitely no match for him. In addition, he was the chief of the extreme Tao. That was even more different. Even if the weapon master, 3 messengers, met him, they would also be of the same generation. They would never think that they were superior to him. Before the 9 emperors achieved Tao, the Sky Sealing King was also an influential figure of that era. The Sky Sealing King's speed was extremely fast. At this moment, Battle King was already getting closer and closer. Not only that, a part of the world was suspended in the air. Its speed was even faster, spreading toward Fang Ping. This was his origin world. Once it was suppressed, Fang Ping would definitely not be able to avoid it. His origin was very likely to be suppressed. Fang Ping did not make a sound. His speed was extremely fast, escaping. Danger. He felt the danger. He was definitely not this Battle King's opponent. Even if his words were ruthless, the truth was the truth. The Overlord might not be able to kill him, but Battle King could definitely kill him. Even his origin was in danger. He might not be able to avoid this person's seal. Once he was sealed, without the enhancement of the origin, the current Fang Ping's basic vitality was less than 2 million calories. There was a chance that even an emperor level could kill him. Fang Ping's gaze was solemn. He quickly called out in his mind, "Big Cat, hurry! Quickly inform old Zhang and the others. Hurry, help me!" If he could not reach the Sky Cemetery before Battle King arrived, no one would help him. Even if he reached the fake Sky Cemetery, it would be extremely dangerous. In his mind, the old cat said bitterly, "What should I say? Just say that a big one was sent over. Maybe a small one will come along. Right, it might come with an even bigger one. Oh, then I'll go and tell them. You be careful. That foam is very strong." I think Big Blackface mentioned before that Feng is actually more suitable to walk the extreme path of spiritual consciousness. It's just that he's too ambitious. He wants everything, so he's not focused. Fang Ping's heart trembled slightly. Was that how Heaven Extermination evaluated Feng? Because he was not focused. He could not become one of the extreme path venerable emperors. Feng's ambition was too big. He wanted to gather the advantages of the 4 emperors and become the strongest. Otherwise, this person might be more suitable to walk the extreme path mentality than Heaven Extermination. Fang Ping had a realization in his heart. This lineage was really strong in Feng. Fang Ping's speed was even faster. He did not know if the God Creation Envoy could intimidate Feng. Once Feng made a move, he would be in big trouble. Was Heaven Extermination King a match for Feng? Once this guy was lured into the fake sky cemetery, would it bring them big trouble? There was no other way. Feng Ping was helpless. You guys bear with me. I have no other way. Otherwise, I'll do it myself. At the same time, Spirit Emperor Dojo. Zhang Tao's heart was beating fast as he muttered, "Old Li, my bad feeling is getting stronger." Heaven Extermination King frowned and said, "Maybe there's trouble coming." After thinking for a while, Heaven Extermination King frowned and said, "Where did the trouble come from this time? Heavenly Hound, the guy who fed the cat, the few beginners, or the 9 emperors and 4 emperors are going to revive?" Shaking his head, Heaven Extermination King was helpless. What was going on? Wasn't the great world not opened yet? It would still take some time for the Skyman realm wall to shatter. Why did he feel that there was a problem now? Who, the F*CK, was born. The blacksmith broke the earth and ran away. Something happened in the sky cemetery. Other than them, who else? Heaven Extermination King thought for a long time and suddenly said, "Don't tell me it's that guy. Who?" When Zhang Tao heard the last sentence, he could not help but ask. Heaven Extermination King snorted and said, "You wouldn't know him even if I told you. A shameless person, a traitor of beginners, a disgrace to the powerhouses. More shameless than you. Get lost." Heaven Extermination King said gloomily, "How can I be the same as him? He was born under the leader of the beginners, a supreme beginners, a supreme powerhouse who had proven his Tao with mental energy. He was the inheritor of that bloodline, the only inheritor. Later, there was a great Tao battle between the beginners and the source. When this guy saw that the situation was not right, he turned around and joined the 4 emperors who had just proven their Tao. His master was almost angered to death. He was originally prepared to clean up the sect, but in a battle, this guy was killed by that woman, Spirit Emperor. This time, that traitor got off easy." Who? Feng. Heaven Extermination King said disdainfully, "I'm not shameless. Shamelessness is only towards the enemy. He's shameless towards his own people. However, he has some ability. He's very sharp and runs faster than anyone, but he hasn't appeared for many years. Is he dead?" Heaven Extermination King was not sure. Zhang Tao asked curiously, "You weren't his match back then?" Heaven Extermination King said, "Unhappily, I haven't fought him before." "What was his strength back then?" "Broken 7, I think. I didn't pay much attention. That guy usually doesn't attack when he encounters powerhouses, so I don't know much about him." Old Zhang understood. He was indeed very strong. He had broken 7 back then. This was a realm that even the 3 envoys might not have back then. The 3 envoys seemed to have broken 7. Whether it was specifically or not, he did not fight back then, so he was not too sure. Now, it was definitely broken 7. Before the Sea Extermination Envoy, he had broken 7. Old Zhang did not care about who was resurrected. He still felt strange. Who was resurrected? Did it have anything to do with him? As he was thinking, his expression changed. What a familiar feeling. Just a few days ago, his source trembled, and he saw a cat. Now, could it be the same? In the next moment, Old Zhang appeared in the source world. On the large source planet, Old Zhang opened his eyes and looked at the dark void. In the distant starry sky, a big fat cat was already tired and wanted to sleep. It muttered nonstop, cursing Fang Ping countless times. Soon, it flew near Old Zhang's source planet again. Fake Emperor. This time, before Zhang Tao could reply, another person appeared in the next moment. Heaven Extermination King. The distance was too close. He also felt it. At this moment, his figure appeared in the source universe. Seeing that both of them were here, the cat was also happy. It saved him trouble. "Who's that?" "I'll make it short." Panting, the cat said, "The big liar is here to give you benefits." He said that the benefits last time were too little. This time, he's giving you a big one and a small one. Oh, there might be an even bigger one. Having said that, the cat turned around and ran. "Cat," old Zhang's voice was shrill. "Big. How big? The small one last time. Was it a F asterisk king small? A heavenly king, a saint. This time, he wanted to give a big one. Forget it. There might be an even bigger one. I know where the bad feeling is coming from. Fong Ping. Bastard." Old Zhang was about to explode. What was this guy doing in the outside world? Why did the heavenly kings and saints come here as if they were free? Heaven Extermination King's expression also changed. He said hurriedly, "Who are you sending in?" "You'll know when you see it. The big one might not come. The slightly bigger one hasn't broken 7 yet." "It's okay." The cat was calm. "Anyway, you guys will fight. Not me. It hasn't broken 7 yet. It's okay. You guys can beat it." "Who is it?" The cat had already run far away. "I won't tell you. If I tell you, you guys will know that the scammers might send a super big one. You'll be furious. It's for your own good. Anyway, it was the same whether I said it or not. I already said it was a big one. I should be prepared." It ran fast. Old Zhang and Heaven Extermination returned in an instant. In the next moment, both of them looked at each other. Heaven Extermination cursed. "There might be a powerhouse who has broken 8. Damn it, the small one is already broken 6. The super big one might very well break 8. Mother of asterisk cur, Fong Ping is crazy. Did this guy raid a powerhouse's lair outside?" Old Zhang was furious too. "I've only broken 6. Just broken 6. You think too highly of me. It's not easy for me to be here. If not for Hong Yu, I'd still be being hunted. Fong Ping, this bastard, always sending him meat. What was the meaning of this? Old Li, I'm counting on you. The super big one is coming. You deal with it. I'll deal with the big one. The small one, what's the small one's strength?" Heaven Extermination's gaze was unfriendly. Needless to say, anything lower than a saint's strength was not a joke. "Fong Ping, this guy was really something. I've been outside for 8,000 years and have never provoked a powerhouse who broke 8. This is killing me." Both of them looked at each other. Without another word, they flew toward the entrance and broke through the air. This fake heavenly grave was getting more and more lively. At the same time, Hong Yu shouted hurriedly, "Heaven Extermination and Martial King have gone to the entrance. Don't chase after them. They're definitely going to run. You guys go after them. I'm not Hong Yu. They're leaving." Behind them, many Heavenly King powerhouses frowned. What were Martial King and Heaven Extermination up to now? "I don't care about you guys. Are you guys really going to run?" At this time, no one was allowed to go out. In the crowd, the Demon Emperor took deep breaths. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Next, this place would be in chaos. The world would be in chaos. Maybe I should find a place to hide and leave this place. Chapter 1182. In the fake sky grave, before Fong Ping arrived, he had already caused a commotion. Outside the fake sky grave, Fong Ping's expression was solemn as he continued to flee. Behind him, fighting Heavenly King rushed over swiftly. As he flew, he said, "Fong Ping, surrender. Otherwise, the billions of lives of your human race will be in danger. Just kill him." Fong Ping's voice was icy cold. "It's good to kill him. Everyone knows that the powerhouses of the human race fight for the human race and are restricted by the earth. Destroy the human race, and the powerful ones will not die. That's good. Let's see how the Heaven Sealing clan is going to deal with a bunch of crazy powerful humans. Fong Ping did not say that he did not care about humans, but he was threatening the other party instead. Just destroy them. Today, you destroyed the humankind. Tomorrow, you will face a group of crazy and hysterical human beings. Now, suppressing Heavenly King, Martial King, so many paragons, including people like Fong Ping, why didn't he avoid the battle? Instead, he took the initiative to fight. Was there a need for King Wu and the others to fight in the fake heavenly grave? There was no need. However, in order for the human race to have better development, in order to entangle those experts, and to give the others time to grow stronger, they were all willing to be trapped. Fong Ping was the same. With his ability to conceal his aura and hide in the dark, even a heavenly king would not dare to provoke him. If there were no humans, would the Catacombs' 9 saints dare to oppose Fong Ping? It was only because they knew the humans were there that they had the chance to kill Fong Ping. Without the humans, Fong Ping would have run away long ago. Do Wong said coldly, "Are you trying to intimidate me? What can you do if you destroy the human race?" "Just go." Fong Ping sneered. "You really think I don't know? Those fellows hiding in the dark all have their own plans, and the human tribe is the crux of it all. Do you take me for a fool to destroy the human tribe? If you make a move, your entire heaven-sealing bloodline will be annihilated. Even that old turtle will be killed. If you don't believe me, why don't you give it a try?" The Do King's face was icy cold. Some things had really hit the nail on the head. Even so, the fighting king was still somewhat annoyed. Fong Ping was mocking him. The heavenly King Do snorted. His eyes were cold. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand and grabbed at Wu Quishan. Yes, he did not dare to destroy the human race. However, killing a few was not a problem. Since Fong Ping was mocking him, he would kill some human powerhouses to show him. Wu Quishan was just about to explode with power when, in the next moment, a tiny door appeared in front of him. Wu Quishan's expression flickered as a tiny door appeared in front of him. With a loud bang, Wu Quishan staggered and almost fell. Just as he was about to explode, he suddenly lost control of his strength. He, who was originally in the hopeless despair realm, suddenly lost control of his strength and instantly fell from the hopeless despair realm. Wu Quishan's basic vitality was only more than 200,000 calories. Even if his peak vitality essence was twice that of a rank 9, it was only comparable to a rank 9's about 500,000 calories. More than 500,000 calories. Against a heavenly king powerhouse, more than 5 million calories. It was an absolute instant kill. At this moment, the terror of the Fengtian bloodline was on full display. Against someone like Wu Quishan, it was too easy for them to kill him. Even without the seal, Wu Quishan was not a match for a heavenly king. But now, it was even easier to kill him. "Break!" Wu Quishan roared angrily. His origin shook, but he was unable to break through the seal. He was too weak. At the very least, compared to a heavenly king, he was really too weak. He couldn't even break the seal. At this moment, beside him, a shocking sword gleam rose. Old Man Li, who had just recovered slightly, growled and slashed with his sword. The sky-high giant hand covered, but in the blink of an eye, a hole was pierced through. Humph! On the other side, Super God King snorted softly. Longevity's sword. Longevity's sword, who had killed Annihilation, was not weak. He might already have Emperor-level strength. After all, it was just a casual attack. The giant hand covered, but this time it was broken by Longevity's sword. In the next moment, the giant hand solidified. This time, it was not only targeted at Wu Quishan, but also the Longevity sword. Rumble! The void shattered. Fifth heaven was broken. It was a piece of cake. He wanted to kill Longevity's sword in a second. Old Man Li's expression was solemn. With a roar, he soared into the sky and slashed again. Lifeless sword. Although this slash could not break fifth heaven, it was aimed at one point with only one force. With a squelch, it pierced through the giant hand. Old man Li broke through the giant hand directly, his face pale. Heavenly King. This was the super god. He was a powerhouse with emperor-level combat strength. Facing the other party's casual attack, he could only face it with difficulty. This was because his origin would not be sealed. Ordinary emperor level, when encountering the super god king, would almost certainly die if they were to be sealed twice. After his palm was broken by Li Changxing twice in a row, the super god king's expression was slightly gloomy. Although it was only when he was chasing Fang Ping and wanted to kill these humans, it was embarrassing enough to have his moves broken consecutively. This time, the super god king's expression darkened. His giant hand turned and solidified again, instantly grabbing toward the longevity sword in the sky. This time, Li Changsheng had nowhere to run. At this moment, the god creation envoy seemed to be spewing fire from his nose. He gritted his teeth and said, "Not giving face? I said I'll protect this guy, and he still dares to attack consecutively." As soon as he finished speaking, between heaven and earth, 18 clones appeared instantly. Unity. In the blink of an eye, everyone seemed to have seen something. They saw the 18 weapons instantly fusing and turning into a new weapon. In the blink of an eye, they gathered into a human figure. God creation, envoy. Get lost. The 18 clones merged into one. The newly appeared God creation envoy had a powerful aura. It felt like he had not reached the Heavenly King stage, but he punched out. The void was unbreakable. The energy did not dissipate. The control of his strength was so high that it was terrifying. As the most outstanding god of weaponry in tens of thousands of years, the God creation envoy had extremely high requirements for his control of strength when forging weapons. Otherwise, if he was not careful, a divine weapon might be destroyed. Jiang Hao had once said that the God creation envoy's control of strength had reached 100%. Even from the ancient times until now, there were not many people who could do this. Even if he was an emperor, it did not mean that he could control his strength to this extent. After the fusion, the clone did not reach the Heavenly King stage, but the top-notch saint stage. However, this punch was light as a feather, as if there was no movement at all. However, it caused the saints behind him to be incomparably terrified. It had even vaguely reached the point of breaking 6. That was the Heavenly King's domain. A Heavenly King powerhouse did not mean that his strength was only at the point of breaking 6. Breaking 6 was the strength that he could unleash. Only by unleashing the strength of breaking 6 was he a Heavenly King. Even if your maximum chi and blood reached 7 million calories, your control over your strength was so low that you were unable to break 6. Then you were not a Heavenly King. The limit of the God creation envoy's avatar had obviously not reached the point of breaking 6, but at this moment, it had vaguely released the might of breaking 6. This punch passed through the giant palm and directly smashed it into pieces, leaving not a single trace behind. In the distance, the Battle King's body trembled slightly. This was not all. The God creation envoy directly broke through the air and appeared above his head in an instant. It appeared above the small world that he was hanging in the sky and punched out. The world trembled as if the end of the world had arrived. Puffed. A mouthful of blood sprayed out from the Battle King's mouth. His origin trembled and his power dissipated. The God creation envoy's expression was also ugly. He punched out once again, straight towards his head. "How dare you? If I don't make a move, who dares to treat me as if I don't exist?" This Do Tian was just a dog that had been sealed, yet he dared to compete with him. Give him face. Feng Yuan. The Battle King roared. Countless doors appeared on his body and rushed straight towards the God Creation envoy. Not only that, a long blade appeared in his hand, and he slashed at the God Creation envoy, shattering the void and breaking the sixth heaven. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A fist, a blade, collided with each other. The God Creation envoy's figure dissipated, revealing a new weapon. It was like a ball spinning in the air. As for the Battle King, his arm immediately exploded, spreading towards his entire body. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sounds of explosions continued. However, the Battle King's eyes were ice cold. He did not care, and countless doors instantly fused into the ball. Idiot! At this moment, the God Creation envoy's voice came out, and he snorted coldly. Who is he? God Creation envoy. The source of the avatar was his own source, a heavenly king who had just broken through to the sixth level, actually dared to seal his own source. What was this called? This was courting death. Right at this moment, the Battle King's head suddenly exploded. In the air, the doors that were wrapped around the ball shattered one after another. Backlash. The God Creation envoy directly shattered his seal. The ball instantly transformed into a human form and punched out once again. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The Battle King's chest was pierced through, his head shattered, and his broken body flew out. Very quickly, his broken body began to recover, but the chest that had been pierced through was still difficult to recover. The God Creation envoy did not chase after him. He stood proudly in the air and looked at him coldly. Heavenly King, for a new Heavenly King like you, this old man's clone can kill you. You dare to challenge this old man. Tyrannical, the tyranny of the strong. His main body did not even come out, but a clone had destroyed the Battle King's golden body. At this moment, the surroundings were silent. This was probably the strongest doppelganger that had ever existed since the beginning of time. No one's clone could be this strong. It might be possible for a king, but it was still unclear what happened to the Earth Emperor's clone back then. However, the other Heavenly King stage powerhouses were as strong as King Kuan, and their clones only had the strength of a saint. As for the God Creation envoy, his clone had defeated the golden body of a heavenly king. This was the power of a weapon-forging master who had created the path of cloning. The fusion of 18 semigod equipment was already powerful to begin with, and adding on the fact that his control over his power was extremely high, a peak saint had actually defeated the heavenly king's golden body. At this moment, the Battle King had already recovered. His face was slightly pale, and his eyes were gloomy. He looked at the God Creation envoy, and after a long while he said coldly, "He is very strong, but how long can the God Creation envoy fight for?" Very strong, far stronger than he had expected. However, a clone was only a clone after all. The power of the clone came from his own body, from the reserves of his weapon, and not from the world. In a short period of time, he could unleash a powerful force, but after a long period of time, the strength of the clone would be greatly weakened. The God Creation envoy did not think much of it and sneered. "You want to try? It's just storing energy. Do you think this old man doesn't even have such a divine tool? Don't forget, the sun in the sky was created by this old man. Idiot! That was the source of energy. That thing had limitless energy. Was it difficult for him, the God Creation envoy, to create a replica?" When these words were spoken, the Battle King's expression turned ugly once again. He had truly underestimated these ancient experts. He had almost forgotten that the God Creation envoy had created the immortal origin, the strongest divine tool of the ancient times. At this moment, a weak wave of spirit force broke through the air. The spirit force fluctuated, and a voice came out, its tone carrying a smile. Blacksmith, your temper is still so big. Do Qian, go find the human king. Blacksmith, don't tell me you want to protect even the human king? The god creation envoy coldly snorted. The human king must fight. There is no need for this old man to protect him. On the other hand, if your bloodline dares to provoke this old man again, Feng, don't blame this old man for settling the score with you. Why are you so angry? Feng's tone was still smiling. The longevity sword, it should be a little different. Blacksmith, if you want to protect this kind of person, it will be very easy for you to attract trouble. Even if you really break through to the 8th strongest, if you interfere at this time, it will be easy for you to make a mistake. The god creation envoy sneered and said indifferently, so what? Furthermore, it's not your turn to threaten this old man. Blacksmith, don't try to be brave. Your original body is locked in the void. Do you really dare to break through and fight? Feng was still smiling. Longevity sword, forget about it this time. If you participate in the matter of the human king again, then I can only spar with you. The god creation envoy did not dodge at all. He was extremely domineering. Would I be afraid of you? What a joke. If I want to interfere, then so be it. If I don't want to interfere, then so be it. If you dare to threaten me again, then I will make your bloodline end today. You're still so hot-tempered. Feng seemed to never be angry. He continued to smile. The human race, especially the rising human race of this generation, I am not the only one who is against them. Even if all of you, in the end, will you really continue to support them? Feng's voice was a little louder. Fang Ping, who was fleeing in the distance, heard Feng's laughter. The human race, the main character of this generation. It is also the main character of the world for tens of thousands of years after the beginning of martial arts. And the powerhouses of this generation of the human race are the seeds, the hope, the opportunity, the miraculous elixir, the shortcut to invincibility. Fang Ping, the people who support you today might not really support you. The people who want to kill you today might not want to kill you. Sometimes things are so ridiculous. Feng's tone was still smiling. Fang Ping, there are some things that people of your generation will not understand. Is a blacksmith a good person? Ha ha ha. A burst of hearty laughter rang, and very soon the sound dissipated. At this moment, Fang Ping snorted coldly and said mockingly, "Do you think I care? Helping the human race powerhouses today, no matter what the future holds, helping the human race today means that you are the benefactor of the human race. Falling out in the future is also a matter of the future. People like you, no matter how strong you are still trash. You think that you can't kill me today, so you buried a prelude in advance. What do you want me to do? It seems that you look down on your disciple. A heavenly king and a top-notch saint are not even confident in taking me down. You are indeed a bunch of trash." Fang Ping was sarcastic and ridiculing. However, Feng did not say anything again. Fang Ping did not continue to provoke him. It was enough. If he really attracted this guy, it would be very troublesome. Did he not see that the God Creation Envoy's avatar was so strong? He was also a little afraid. The golden body of the Heavenly King was defeated by the God Creation Envoy, and the distance between him and Fang Ping had widened. At this moment, Fang Ping was also a little more relaxed. Following the Overlord behind, he laughed and said, "Big Bear, your speed is not good enough." The Overlord's expression did not look good. He snorted coldly and sped up a lot. Behind him, the Heavenly King did not continue to speak this time. He avoided the God Creation Envoy and did not attack Old Man Li and the others anymore. He chased after Fang Ping. The God Creation Envoy stood proudly in the void, his face indifferent. If a cat did not climb onto his thigh again, the God creation envoy felt that this scene should be remembered in history. His avatar had defeated the heavenly king's golden body. This was a big event. Unfortunately, with a fat cat lying on his thigh and grabbing his leg, the God creation envoy felt that there was no need to be remembered by others. The one who hit the pot, you are so powerful. The cat seemed to be flattering him as it said happily, these 18 semi-divine weapons look like a pot when combined. The God creation envoy was speechless. What were you trying to say? Why don't you give it to me? I haven't eaten for a long time. The chipped pot. The God creation envoy shook his thigh and cursed in his heart. I knew you were going to do this. At this time, old man Li Wu Quishan and the others rushed over. Wu Quishan looked grateful and said, "Thank you for your help, Senior." If not for the God creation envoy, he would have been in big trouble today. The heavenly king was really strong, at least at that time. Feng Yun and the other saints had solemn expressions and did not dare to make a move easily. Once their origin was sealed, even if they had a lot of people, they would still have a slim chance of survival against the heavenly king. The God creation envoy did not say anything. He frowned slightly and looked at Fang Ping, who was escaping into the distance. After thinking for a while, he said, "You guys are not Feng's target. His disciples' target is Fang Ping and Li Changsheng. I will take Li Changsheng away." Fang Ping's identity as a human king is destined to experience countless twists and turns. This old man cannot interfere on his own. The God creation envoy looked at Wu Quishan, then looked at the silent old man, Li, and said slowly, "This is a great world. The human race has become the center of the storm and is destined to be plagued with disasters." Fang Ping had become a human king and was also destined to face some difficulties and dangers. The more outstanding the human race was, the more dangerous it was. Feng, actually, he was right. This is only the beginning. In the end, even the heavenly king, I might not always stand with the humans. The God creation envoy did not avoid anything and sighed softly. The world of great competition. Everyone is fighting for life, fighting to cross. After being silent for so many years, we are not willing to become the supporting characters of the times, to become insignificant figures, and gradually die of old age in the dark void. The God creation envoy's voice was faint. However, as Fang Ping said, at this moment, this old man did not cause any harm to the humans. Right now, your enemy will not be this old man. Let's talk about the future in the future. In these three realms, we can only rely on ourselves. External forces are always external forces. Even if it's this big fat cat, it also has its own pursuit. The God creation envoy kicked the ash cat. The ash cat had a bitter look on its face. Why did it kick the cat? The God creation envoy smiled and said lightly, "If the fat cat wants to be fatter, sleep well, and eat well, it will more or less put in some effort, but don't always count on it. No matter how strong its combat strength is, it will really fight to the death for the human race." The ash cat said resentfully, "I'm just a cat. I don't fight." The God creation envoy sneered, rubbed its big head, and said with emotion, "Then continue to be a good cat. Don't cause trouble. Your situation is not any better than Fang Ping's." "Be careful." The ash cat hugged his thigh and did not reply. Wu Quishan hurriedly said, "Senior, you mean?" The God creation envoy's eyes were deep, and he muttered, "Who can avoid the world of great competition? The ash cat. Kill the ash cat. Maybe it's the end of the origin Tao and the opening of a new Tao." The God creation envoy lowered his head, looked at the ash cat, and said sadly, "Fat cat, you're dead. Maybe it's the end of this world, the end of the origin, and the beginning of the next era." The ash cat muttered a few words, but no one heard it clearly. Wu Quishan's expression changed. Old Manly glanced at the Ash Cat and said in a deep voice, "The Ash Cat has helped us humans many times. The human race will never sit back and do nothing, whether it's Fong Ping or Minister Zhang. They will do their best and will never forget their kindness. You guys are still too weak." The God Creation Envoy sighed and said self-deprecatingly, "Some things are more complicated than you think. I've already sensed something. Some people are probably coming out of seclusion. The battle from 30,000 years ago has not ended yet and is still continuing." At this moment, everyone's expression changed. The battle of the Great Tao, 30,000 years ago, the battle between the origin and the beginner martial Tao had not ended yet. The God Creation Envoy strolled through the void, saying as he walked, "Beginner martial, origin, new great Tao. In the future, blood is destined to flow like a river. Those who have passed away will return. In this life, victory and defeat will be decided. In the path of cultivation, which Tao is true and which Tao is false." The God Creation Envoy seemed to know a lot of things, and the more he spoke, the more complicated his tone became. The Ash Cat let go of his thigh and jumped onto the cicadeer. It was in a low mood and muttered, fighting every day. I've lost a lot of delicious food." The God Creation Envoy laughed and ignored it. Ash Cat, the key point of the Tao of origin. The future was also full of calamities and misfortunes. The Heavenly Hound and the Cat Guardian Captain probably wanted to solve some problems in advance when they went to the Heavenly Tomb. Otherwise, the Ash Cat would have been here, and these people would not have left in advance. Some dangers were still in the depths. Although the Three Realms was dangerous, it was much easier than the dangers in the dark. If they didn't die, no one would rashly touch the Ash Cat. He was afraid that these people would be trapped in the Heavenly Tomb. At that time, the Ash Cat's situation would become more and more dangerous. "Cat, you think you're a cat, but you're not." The God Creation Envoy had a complicated look in his eyes. Back then, he had failed in the beginner martial arts. This time, he would definitely be more prepared. Some of the powerhouses in the origin might not protect you. The origin and the beginner martial arts were inseparable. How many powerhouses in the origin were also powerhouses in the beginner martial arts era? Did they really think that the origin was good? Only the 9 emperors and 4 emperors were powerful in the origin. The status of the others might not be much higher than before. Without the origin, returning to the beginner martial arts was something that some of the powerhouses in the origin were considering. The God Creation Envoy strolled through the void and stopped talking. In front, Fong Ping turned around and fought with the Overlord for a while, then quickly escaped. The Battle King chased after him again. Wu Quishan and the others watched helplessly as Fong Ping was being hunted down. Their expressions were shockingly complicated. The human king was being hunted. The human race could only watch helplessly. They still had to rely on the God Creation Envoy. Otherwise, they would only be a burden to Fong Ping. After all, the God Creation Envoy was not a neo-martial artist. He did not go all out to protect Fong Ping. Could Fong Ping successfully escape to the fake Heavenly Tomb? At this moment, in the crowd, Jiang Hao sighed and said softly, "Some things he can only rely on himself. Overlord, let me do it." As soon as he finished speaking, his body broke through the air and quickly chased after him. He could only deal with the Overlord, but he might not be a match for him. The Battle King, the current him, was far from being a match for him. Once he was sealed, he would be killed in the blink of an eye when he recovered his peak combat strength. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.